Welcome, everyone. This is going to be a fun and a super exciting show. We're going to talk about cloud architect training and how Delroy Batt got his first cloud architect job with no experience and what it's like been for Delroy. We'll talk about, I hear this term cloud architect, no experience, and that means nothing to me because we get cloud architects like Delroy, really smart, powerful people hired all the time. But in order to get that cloud architect job, you must know the difference between a cloud architect versus a cloud engineer. And that's why we created a cloud architect course to help people get their first cloud architect job. We'll probably talk about the cloud architect interview and maybe some cloud architect training. We'll talk about, getting a cloud architect job when you have no experience. We'll talk about what is cloud architect training, what is solution architect training, cloud architect resume work, for example, and a real cloud architect job description versus the kind of things that you see out there on an HR job board, which are not a job description. We'll talk about how to become a cloud architect and what does a cloud architect do. So before we begin, I'll tell you about some free things that we're doing and some non-free things that we're doing. And then we're going to get into the content. And I'm going to interview Delroy. And then you'll hear from Elonzo, you'll hear from Chris, and it's going to be a big party time. So everybody give me a hashtag cloud hired so I know you're awake, alert, and oriented. Now, there were some questions that we're going to get to pretty quickly, potentially in the chat box, which I'm fine to do. But Delroy is a very special man. And he's been with me now for about 12 months, perhaps a little longer. He visited me in Florida very recently, and I forced him to listen to reggae in my car because anybody that knows me knows that I am Mr. Reggae. And, then at that point, after I'm making Delroy listen to reggae, he's like, well, I'm West Indian, I'm from Grenada, and he spent the last 2 months there, which is even cooler. So he didn't even mind my reggae, which is even better. So there's this, but here's the thing. When we met Delroy, he was, last job was an EMT. So we had an instant connection because I worked as an EMT. That's how I paid my way through school. And he told me what he did and how much time he had spent doing the kinds of training that we'll talk more about. He'd been on 20 interviews, and everybody said, come back when you have more experience, which is a proxy for the interview didn't go well. Now, within 3 weeks of my program, Delroy had multiple offers, and he's going to talk to you about that. And now, with 1 year in my program, he's got his first cloud security architect job, a specialist job, no less, which is even harder to get than a standard cloud architect job. And he didn't just have one offer. He had a lot of offers. We're going to talk about that. So these are the things that I'm going to talk about tonight with Delroy. But I'm sure my team wants to say something. I'm sure Delroy wants to say something. I'm going to tell you one thing. Delroy is amazing. I've seen his attitude, energy, enthusiasm, passion, and I'm super excited to see so you can see this. I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to have questions on your career. We'll do the best we can to answer them tonight. If there's more questions, ask them tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. on our Cloud Career Question and Answer session. You can link in the description below of all of our videos, and you'll see there. And on Thursday, we're going to have our How to Get Your First Cloud Architect Job webinar. And on this webinar, let's be fair, I will tell you what you need to learn to be a cloud architect, what needs to be on your resume, how to show the hiring manager to when you don't have experience that you do by leveraging your life experience. I'll tell you how to skip HR. I'll tell you what you need to know, certifications that look good on your resume versus ones that make you look horrible and keep it getting hard on your resume. And we'll have some fun here. We'll interview Delroy. So before I do this, also, if you did not catch the free AWS Certified Solution Architect Bootcamp training this morning, when you're done this, guess what? Watch it first thing in the morning. And tomorrow we have day 2 of the completely free AWS Certified Solution Architect Associate training. And as people today said, wait, you went pretty deep. Yes, we went almost as deep, if not deeper, than the Certified Solution Architect Professional in our free training. And we had fun. So before we begin, Chris, do you have anything to say? Elonzo, do you have anything to say?
So Chris, I think I'll let Elonzo go first because I got quite a few things to say.
Okay.
Well, and it's not me that has to say them. I'm just going to repeat them. So.
Okay, fantastic.
Dad has spoken.
Yes, I have.
Well, you know what, guys? As usual, it's always great to see everyone here at our podcast. We are excited to have Delroy here as what I affectionately call him D-Bat. This guy is awesome. I love his energy. I love his professionalism, even at his young age. And it's just phenomenal to be here. So I'm looking forward to this podcast, getting these questions answered about Delroy's like backstory, how he started from here and now he's here and all these great things. So, Chris, what do you got, man?
Oh, what do I have? That's a loaded question there. So I personally don't have very much to say. I'm really interested just to hear what Delroy and Mike have to say.
Yeah.
But before I let Delroy and Mike take over the show, I want to bring in a couple of questions.
Sounds good.
So apparently, when I got on here at 5:00 Eastern time, an hour before the show starts, there's already some comments in the chat box from over 2 hours prior to the show starting. So I want to bring those questions in because these are questions that we get asked every single day. And so we answer them every single day. So I want to make sure that we answer them like we do every single day.
Okay.
So these they come from the same person. And so I'm going to put them both up back to back. I think it's an opportunity for you and Delroy just to have a conversation. And okay. I'm going to put them up, and I'm going to leave. I'm just going to drop the mic.
Back.
Yeah. And I'll let you guys go from those questions into your discussion. And then you just call me back whenever you want me to come out of timeout. Okay. So we've got these two questions. I posted a comment saying that Mr. Batt should tell us how exactly your program helped him improve his soft skills. And they claim that the comment was deleted, but the live stream wasn't up, so it wasn't.
You mean that when YouTube crashed?
Yeah. So, okay. And then also, I think people have a right to know why they pay $700 to $999 instead of buying a few cloud and soft skill courses on Udemy.
Okay, we can answer
that. I think that's a good way to start it off. I'm going to drop.
Right. I think that's a good place to start.
I think it's a great place to start it off. So, this program. And then we're going to ask the questions to Delroy. I was completely retired and had no desire to do anything else other than my private coaching. And here's what happened. I was asked by my friend who had a kid that was ready to graduate college, kind of around Delroy's age, really nice, fine young man. And the father said, what should he do? I said, he should be a cloud architect. It's the best field I know right now. And the father says, how does he do this? And I said, I'll coach him. I said, but I'm a pretty busy guy right now. We were doing some blockchain projects at the time. I said, so, and I was retired. I said, here's what I'll do. I'll spend 2 to 4 hours with him every Friday, and I will buy the 3 best-selling certification courses for them. 2 were on Udemy, and 1 was in a guy's name in a continent in the South Pacific. And they were the 3 courses I bought for the guy. So after 3 days, the kid calls me back, and he says, Mike, I set up an S3 bucket and an EC2 instance. What are they? And I'm like, oh, come on, Nathan. How lazy can you be? I bought you 3 courses. They're big selling courses. How are they? And he says, Mike, watch them. I'm not lazy. And I watched them. And here's what I heard. Blah, 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 blah. Here's screen sharing, PowerPoints with audio, and here's how you configure something. I never once heard what the technology was, how it worked, or why would an organization use it. And I was so horrified that I said to him, here's what we're going to do. We're going to make AWS training and give it away for free. And he says, free? I said, yes, we're going to write the book on passing the AWS Certified Solution Architect and Professional exam. We'll charge $10 for the professional. We'll strip out 10 pages and we'll give out the associate. We gave about 25,000 copies away almost immediately. Instantly, people started passing the exam and writing good feedback. I then created this program. Well, before I created this program, I interviewed 1,000 people that took a bunch of courses on Udemy. Many of them had multiple certifications. I wanted to see if any could design a system and be an architect. 0 were hireable. So then I created this course, and that's why I do it. So, YH, you came to us, And you spent $1,000 with our training approximately. Is that correct? Delroy, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
You said YH instead of Delroy. That's why he didn't answer.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Delroy. So,
Okay.
Delroy, you spent approximately $1,000 for training with us about a year ago. Is that correct?
Correct.
Right now, could you buy a 4-bedroom single-family home and 2 Mercedes on your new current salary?
Yes, I can.
And still save money, right?
And still save a lot of money.
So
Yes.
that $1,000 that you spent on us, was it worth it?
Infinite the best ROI so far of my career, of my life.
Okay, so now let's get to the why us. Okay, so now you're a wealthy man. Before you were not. Before you met us, had you gone on any interviews?
I did.
And what did you hear on the interviews?
I got your experience. Come back to what your experience isn't enough. You're not the right candidate right now. The budget just changed. Things like that. A lot of soft landing no's.
Okay, within 3 weeks of being in my program, how many offers did you have?
I believe I had 3 offers: 2 healthcare and then 1 in manufacturing.
Okay, so 2 jobs, and they were good jobs. They were stepping stone jobs, but they were great jobs, and you used that while you went through my program.
Yeah, they were.
You were able, because you visited me in Florida, to even save money and do great things while you had this great job, right?
Yeah, they were amazing opportunities, but they're definitely stepping stones for me to get to where I am today.
Now, prior to meeting me and going on all these interviews that you talked about, had you done Udemy training?
Yes, I did. I did Udemy. I bought like 4 Udemy courses. I think I spent a little under probably about the same amount as your course here on all 4.
Okay, so you did this. And how long did you spend your time doing these things?
I spent about, I want to say 6 to 8 months going through Udemy.
Okay. Now you now have a big cloud architect job.
Correct.
And I know where you're at, but let's say you had an average cloud architect job that paid you $150,000 a year. There's nothing average about you, Delroy. So I don't assume you'd have an average job, especially because you've got good leadership skills, soft skills, executive presence. But let's just assume it was average. Mm-hmm. If it took you 6 months of wasted time on Udemy before you had a first offer that you could live with, that's $50,000, $75,000 of lost earnings, right?
Correct.
So by saving $1,000, you lost $75,000 of wasted earnings. Is that correct? But the opportunity cost of your time?
Yeah, I think the value of my time, the value of the time, was just impeccable. The amount of time that I was saved just investing with you instead and learning from you and then going over the materials in your course is truly, 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 I think, what sets you apart from anything that's on the internet right now.
And thank you. And I wouldn't be, hammering you with questions right now, but someone asked if I was cherry picking questions. First, guys, I don't even select the questions. I'm back here. I've got 6 people on the team that are moving the questions in or out. So I wouldn't even know that. But, here's the thing. So on these interviews, what was it that got you hired? Because I know you got feedback from hiring managers. What was it about you that mattered?
The thing that I like to say, I did my best Mike impression, right? After being inside your course for almost a year, I started to pick up on a lot of the things that you do. The hand signals, right? For example, is one of those things. The way you ask questions, the way you conduct your class, the business acumen, the emotional intelligence. Those are the skills that truly got me over the hump, not necessarily my technical acumen. And then also, Mike, just to go back over this question one more time. You are someone that has actually walked the path of a very successful person in tech, and just to have that there is impeccable. I don't think a lot of the architect courses that were on Udemy have those type of characters on there. I can literally ask you real world business questions that a large corporation might go through and get your feedback and really do have a positive impact on the business, because you're there for us every day as a great teachers and a great leader. You can't buy that on Udemy. You can't buy that type of support in there. You can't buy your experience. I'm pretty sure if someone had to come to you and ask you these questions, they'd have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to consult with you for them to get those questions and answers.
And thank you. So you're saying you actually got your questions answered and people cared about you, and it wasn't like Udemy where you were just being talked to and you had no ability to ask a question?
Exactly. That's exactly what the staff, the Go Clardy staff is phenomenal from top to bottom. From the first person you talk to that answers the phone, who's very kind to you, and all the way up to you who teaches the classes every day, and you're so willing to provide us with your services and your information. I think your experiences alone is what's going to cut a lot of your time out and get you from a decade's worth of time wasted to where you really want to be in under a year.
Under a year, $1,000. And here's the thing, he had a job within 3 weeks of being in my program. Delroy never worked in tech before. Within 3 weeks, he got three good security offers, and they were good offers.
Yep.
Now, then, which were far better than cloud admin pay. These were good jobs. And then while he was in my course for his year's training, he was earning in his new job.
Yep. I was still able to, do the things I really wanted to do, like come out to Florida and hang out and still learn and then still go to work and have a very, very, very amazing career.
I remember when you came to Florida, you were like, hey, I'm coming to Florida. And I was like, great, my TV went bad. You went to Best Buy with me, and we were talking networking and presentation and interview skills along the way. And I remember how much fun we had.
Yeah, we also did a lot of, we did some one-on-one real soft skills training, right? When we were talking to the gentleman at Best Buy and asking questions and, how do you feel in presentation and things like that. So those are things that you just can't buy on the internet. Your genuineness is something that you can't buy.
Now let's talk about the solution architect interview, because you got 3 big offers and you turned down one, which was super high paying because you found one that you loved at a company that was great.
Yep.
Now, do you have a DevOps background?
No, I don't have a DevOps background. I don't even know why I need a DevOps background, Michael.
Now, did you get a SysOps certification while you were at it?
No, I didn't.
Now, did you learn to code Python or do hands-on configuration on Linux?
No, that wasn't required at all.
So you didn't learn everybody else's job.
No.
Now, did they even ask you questions about these things on your interview?
No questions about coding, Python, scripting, anything like that.
Now, okay, so interviews for one of these positions, you go on 10 of them, et cetera, et cetera. What'd you go through? 50, 100 interview questions total?
Not that many. Not technical wise.
No, just total questions.
Oh, total questions? I think it was like 7 real questions. And they were they were just trying to figure out how my thinking process was, how I'd react to certain things. It was more like this, just challenging with someone across the table that just wanted to get to know me, really.
Okay, now of these questions, were they, hey, tell me about creating a user in AWS S3? Did you have any questions like that?
No, I did not.
Were they about how do you design a system?
Yes.
How things work?
How things worked, how would it impact the business? How can it help the client out? What were my thoughts on doing this instead of doing this? Things of that nature. More business and more emotional intelligent questions.
Okay, Up and Up, he's a really neat guy. He comes all the time. He says, you say this guy is just 24, such calmness. Will you come like this and presenting like this before you met me?
No. When I first got to the class, I was nervous. I was stuttering. I didn't know anything. So it was quite a challenge. But I think the thing that got me through it was basically just being in there and just practicing all the time. You give students a lot. It's a very how do you say, like a very dynamic group, a dynamic learning skill. So you do get a chance to present, get a chance to talk, and just brush up on your skills, just like this, having a normal conversation with someone about tech. And I think that really helped me get me out of my shell, because I wasn't used to that at all.
Now, while we're at it, because I know the Udemy people kind of claim this, how often do you see somebody getting hired, and how helpful are the people in the class?
Oh, there's someone getting hired almost every day in the private Slack channel, and then I literally will have there's so many different people in our group chat that have experiences across not only tech but other types of other sectors. I literally, to have a general question on how to improve something, and it'll be 10 responses on their experiences, why you should do it like that, and how you should do it. And so there's a lot of good people in that group chat that really want to see you succeed. even me, like there's students that reach out to me, and I love to talk to them and help them and answer some of their questions. So it's a very dynamic group that loves helping each other out.
And I remember we had just called to check our video setup to make sure it was working. And you received a call today. And you know what you said to me? Oh, it's another student that wants to ask me some questions.
Yeah, I definitely had some questions coming from students, like just literally before we were getting ready to get on here.
And how many students were willing to help you and those people that have been hired that have gone through my program?
Everybody felt like every time you DM someone to ask them, hey, how do you optimize this? To, what do you think about this piece of technology over here? Because I see that you had experienced it in the past in your last role. Everybody's willing to sit down and talk shop for hours.
So in a matter of a year, oh wait, before I get here, do you have an MBA or a PhD or anything like that?
No, I have an associate's in computer information systems, and that's pretty much about it.
Okay, so now you got a top 2 to 3% salary of all people in the United States with an associate degree, and you paid $1,000 for my training. So now people at Cisco, other executives that I know, they yell at me and they say, why don't you charge this for your training? And I say, I charge what it takes to cover my costs so I can have a team of the world's greatest people. What do you think my training is really worth?
$100,000 and maybe like 25% of my salary, negotiable 35.
Here's the thing, and I would never take your salary ever. And people ask me every day, would you do an income sharing agreement? And I say no. And I see, here's the reason why. I just want to change somebody's life. I don't want them to owe anything. I don't want them to be indentured to me. I want to change the world. And that's it. So if you paid $100,000 and you had this kind of salary where you could buy a single family home on your own and have 2 Mercedes and still save money, would that have been worth it then?
Of course.
And we did it for less than $1,000.
Yep. And then one thing I really want to touch back to, Michael, about just helping someone. I remember a student had called me earlier this week, and she's like, okay, we talked for almost an hour. She asked me a bunch of questions. Tracy, very nice young lady. She talked to me. She was like, Delroy, I'm going to send you some money for helping me. I'm like, no, I don't want any money, please. I just want to help you. Like, you don't understand. I think she's relatively new to the group. She's like, this is how we all are in this group. Like, you don't have to pay me for anything. I don't want any money. I just want to help you, and I just want to see you grow as an architect. And that's it. And that's the dynamic of the group. And that's the attitude.
So we're going to get back to this. My goal is to take people from all over the world. You're from the Caribbean. I've got hundreds of people from Africa, hundreds, and that's super exciting. I've got lots of people live in India, lots of people from Pakistan. Last week, I had someone in New Zealand get hired. The same week, I had a cloud security architect get hired in Australia. I mean, it's constant. But, the key is everybody participates. I tried to create a family.
It definitely feels like it, for sure. It doesn't feel like, I've been in those classes where it doesn't have that family dynamic at all. And you definitely get left out in the cold when it comes to certain questions, but it definitely doesn't feel like that. It definitely feels like a warm place to where you can learn and really enhance your skills and become a great professional.
And everybody that's part of this company, for the most part, I got to know. Abigail's from the Army. She was my student. I loved her, so she works with us. Chow was my student. I loved her, so she works with me. Same thing with Elonzo. Same thing with Leo. All from different backgrounds. And why did I hire them? Because they care. Chris, who's my chief operating officer, when I made him an offer, he asked me a very special question, which is why I knew he was the right COO. He said, are you looking to take in VC money, and VCs come to me every day, and then sell this company for billions of dollars, or do you want to get a lot of people hired? I said, we're getting people hired. And Chris can tell you that later. You can ask him that question if you desire. But I said, I care about our students. I don't need to work. If I did, I'd be working one of these big, super high-paying roles, one of the cloud providers, as a senior director level or VP level enterprise architect. I've done it in the past. I loved it, but I just want to make people happy and do this. So let's go back to these interviews. When you interview with the hiring managers for several of these companies, did they make it like a hands-on job where you're going to be coding or configuring?
No, it was never that at all. Even when I got hired at the job that I was currently at, he literally told me, I hired you because of your attitude and the way that you and the way that the things that I think you can do based off of the way that you answer these questions. They never asked me to configure anything. They never asked me to set anything up hands-on wise. They asked me, more just generally how I thought about the business. How can I help the business?
It's interesting. A mental health tech student of mine wrote me an email, and she said they hired me because they love my attitude and the way I communicated, etc., just like you told me they would. At the same time this week, I have another student. She's amazing. And she says, I just got a job offer. They said they love my communication skills and my attitude. They said they felt that I would just do whatever it takes to win. So I know you're, what do you think about competitiveness? Does competitiveness matter in this industry?
In the sense of, if you can elaborate a little bit more on that question, when you mean competitiveness.
You think the organization wants someone that's going to come in there and say, tell me about the work-life balance, tell me what the social aspects are of the work, or do you think they want someone that's going to fight to win?
They want a winner. No doubt about it. For one of the hiring managers, literally told me whatever it takes to close the deal, right? So they want somebody that's competitive. They want somebody that's going to stay on the edge, and they want somebody that's going to close. So to answer your question, yes, they want somebody that's very competitive.
Now, the next question I'll ask you is, did they ever, so none of them talk to you about sysops or DevOps or coding, because we don't do that as architects. We design, present, and so.
No.
But did they ask you if you'd ever be, did they talk to you about entertaining clients?
Yes, they did. They told me that we'll be going to meet clients on a regular basis, to have lunch, dinner, be ready to, they gave me some elaborate stories about some of the things that they got their clients to, kind of, make them feel more comfortable with their business and things like that. So that's why I believe, yes, entertaining clients is very important. Just having good conversation is very important as well.
So they did not talk about coding or configuring, but they did talk about golf things and entertaining clients and truly developing a meaningful relationship with your customer.
Exactly. They said golfing is one of the things. I asked them, one of the questions I had at the end is, do you guys, how am I supposed to entertain my clients? And he said, it doesn't matter. It's up to you. Like, we're going to give you an opportunity and access to funds to where, you can either do things like golfing, or we did things like a ski trip, and just really just developing a meaningful relationship with your clients in favor of, winning their business and helping them out and making them feel like we're truly there for them.
Okay, so they did talk to you about entertaining clients and being customer facing. Did they talk to you about giving presentations?
Yes, presentations was definitely a part of it. I believe one of the most senior guys at our group does presentations, like security awareness presentations, kind of like yourself, how you told me that you did at one point in your career, going around the world talking about cybersecurity to different industries and different conferences. And he made it known that would definitely be an opportunity for me if I did decide to go down that path eventually.
Okay, so did they care if you had the ability to talk to an executive?
That was one of the most important things. That's what I learned here, I think, the best, with my executive presence and how to communicate with a very high-level CEO. In the very beginning, I was an engineer, and I would engineer it up. Like, I would talk about some of the most minuscule details, and they'll just look at me and be like, okay, like, cool, next person to talk. But since I've came in here and I've learned how to communicate with the business side for more of a corporate aspect, I can definitely say that it was a life-changing opportunity, because now when I say things or I speak in front of the CISO, it gets done because I know how to communicate. I've had engineers underneath me like help me prepare projects, and I look at it and I'd be like, this is why we didn't get it approved before. Go ahead and take this out, keep this, and we're going to elaborate on these 2 points so the business can see that we're truly impactful to the business. And let's try to move the dollar figure a little bit more instead of just trying to tech it up all the time. And I think that's what really helped me move from like.
So sales is apparently pretty important to this job.
Of course.
Okay, so sales matters, executive presence matters, executive communication matters, and you've been hired by 3 companies, and all 3 companies discussed this with you, right?
Of course, yes.
Okay, but they didn't talk about coding, configuration, sysops, DevOps. Do you think what would have happened if you talked in there and said, "Hi, I'm Delroy. Object storage is a storage area network. It's used for backup and archival purposes"? Well, how do you think that interview would have gone?
I wouldn't have made it past the second round. And if it was 3 rounds, if that, to get past the first round, I think I would have ended up, thank you very much for your time, but you don't have enough experience, and they would have sent me out the door.
So, and a good executive coach is $400 to $1,000 an hour. Someone that can truly coach you on giving presentations. When you came to class and you'd present, did we do that executive coaching, make a point, pause, change your vocal tone, and accentuate on this? Did we teach you that?
Yes, you did. Definitely teaching us how to articulate, how to, put emphasis on something, how to change the mood, asking questions, getting feedback from the audience, using your hands to communicate, asking, like I said, just being interactive, not just reading something off of a screen.
Now, there's a gentleman called Lars that says if he's reading. Are you reading anything?
No, I'm not. I'm not reading anything. There's no notes in front of me. I'm sorry.
Or are you just so articulate because you've been taught to collect your thoughts, frame your thoughts in a certain way, and get your thoughts out? I'm sorry, K-Kid108, Lars was responding back to it, defending it. Okay, so could you even read a script and be this adaptable?
No, I could not. I don't think I'm talking a lot faster than I can read right now. So I don't think that, that's even possible right now.
Hey, do you have a $2,000 teleprompter in your house?
No.
And while for my executives, I will do teleprompter training because it's media training. Did I give you teleprompter training in our course?
Did we go over teleprompter? No, we didn't do any teleprompter. No.
I do that with my executives when I deal with that, because only when you're on TV will you ever be a training. Well, do this. So, soft skills, leadership skills, executive presence. Now, here's the thing. Could you have learned that by watching a video?
No, there's no way that you can. The soft skill piece is a dynamic piece that you just have to come to class for. You have to really see how Mike really orchestrates the class. It's like a conductor almost, and then everybody's playing an instrument, and you kind of guide the first chair violin, then the sax, and then everybody else comes along and you make a beautiful song. It's more like that than anything else. I can't really compare it to just reading or looking at a video verbatim. There are videos in the course that you have to read in order to be successful, but after you go through those videos, you come back to the class the following day and you present what you've learned, and we use it in a way that is very helpful to our group. So that's all I can say. That's just about as dynamic as it's going to get for just a video.
Yeah, so in the live classes, I coach you. But in between live classes, we used to use a LinkedIn group, which, Chris set us up with a Slack channel, but, much is much improved. But, so, and that first, do you remember what that first video was that you did? And I gave you feedback on it. And that was in between the classes. Now my team gives feedback. But that first video, do you remember what it was?
I'm trying to remember. Off the top of my head, no, Mike, I don't. If you can just jog my memory back.
And it's okay. It was the Tell Me About Yourself video.
Oh, yeah. I remember. I had on a gray shirt. I remember now. It's coming back to me now. I remember.
Yeah, so the first video you did in class was the Tell Me About Yourself video. And I gave you pointers on it. Emphasize this, not this. Employers want to see this, not this. I told you to improve your executive presence, etc. Now, when did that question, tell me about yourself, come back to you?
Later on in the course, that definitely came back around, and we talked about it again. And that was like one of the very first homework assignments we had, if I'm remembering correctly now. We did like, what are your goals? What are your objectives? Where do you want to be in the next couple of years? And then we did an intro video on, go ahead and give me like your best spiel, your 5-minute elevator pitch. And mine was very robotic, very nervous, very chattery. And, as I can see now I can do that and with quite ease and comfort now.
Okay, now we're not generic. You go to a university and everybody takes the same courses and comes out with the same diverse skill set and doesn't know how to do anything. You turned in a specific plan to be a cloud security architect.
Yes.
Do you think that's the same plan as the people that come through my course to be a cloud network architect?
No, because that's another part of the course that was very amazing as well, right? It was very dynamic in the sense that I came to you, I said, hey, Mike, this is what I want to be. This is what I want to do. How do I get there? And then I gave you, and then you said, well, give me some, what are your thoughts? And I said, I want to take this. I want to do this. I want to take this exam. You said, this isn't going to work. This is no, focus on this, and then come back in 6 months and see where you're at. And that's what I did. I focused on those areas that you told me to focus on, and now I'm where I am now. It was very dynamic. It wasn't like, I don't know how to say, it wasn't this, like, what they say, checking the boxes. It wasn't like that at all. And I remember even told me I was kind of a little concerned about it a little bit. I said, Mike, I'm coming from a non-tech background, which is the EMT side, right? And you said, Dory, don't even worry about it. That's going to be great. EMT side, you've developed your problem skills. You know how to become underneath, distress already. All we have to do now is bring out your executive presence now. It's something that I've never practiced before. It's like a muscle that I've never worked before. And now it's like we almost hit the gym three days a week. And now I got that muscle pretty well developed now. A lot more growing and learning, but I got it. It's coming along nicely.
There you go. Well, now you had multiple cloud architect offers, multiple ones. And so, we've had Romanik Ivan Tamba. Wow, impressive kid, 24 years old. He was serving food when we had him. I love the guy. I can tell you when I met him on his first day, he was wearing a red shirt in our class. I'm here. I'm Ivan. And I looked in his eyes and I said, you're next. And, when he went to AWS, he was still in college. They waited. They wanted to hire him then. And he said, could you please allow me to graduate college? And they waited 5 months for him to graduate college. I know you were at. Did they ask you what your title? You wanted your title to even be?
They asked when you, I guess, like you said earlier, when they meet the right person, they're willing to do a lot for you, right? They asked me, they're willing to work out some negotiations that I had from our onboarding process. They asked me what did I want my job title to be. They asked me what type of commission that I want to carry over through my role, things like that. Things where I was like, wow, they're really hungry and looking for solid professionals. And when they do get those professionals that walk through the door, they're willing to do a lot to make the job worth your while to come aboard. And it was very promising, especially from the hiring manager, to see that. And that's something that you also told me, but I just couldn't fathom it until you got there. Right? Everything that you told me from the beginning to where I am now has been spot on. From eating and hanging out to doing dinners and lunches to don't worry about the tech, just focus on X, Y, and Z. Learn a little bit of the tech, and you'll get there as well.
Yeah, and to be fair, when I said not the tech, I wasn't worried about your hands-on configuration because we don't touch the tech. But I was very concerned that you understood what the technology was. And I know you and I we've had deep discussion of next generation firewalls and intrusion detection, intrusion prevention, and vulnerability management. And we had deep tech discussions, but it was how it worked, so you knew how to design it. It was now, if all you did was learn by doing, and here you go, you're at the CLI, here you go, you're clicking buttons on the management console. Would you know how to design anything?
Yeah. Say it one more time. It broke up.
You configured things all day long, and all your training was hands-on, set up an S3 bucket, hands-on, set up an EC2 instance, hands-on, configure this. How would that teach you architecture or system design?
You would never learn architecture. You'd probably be a level 3 engineer at best. And if that's your objectives, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if you want to be in architecture, you have to understand what the technology does, and you have to understand what it does for the business. How can it improve the business? If you just learn how to configure, how to add users, how to troubleshoot, they'll only come to you when there's a problem, and then as soon as the problem's over with, they'll just turn around and go somewhere else. The business doesn't necessarily value you as somebody that they need or they prioritize to help earn or generate revenue or income for their business or optimize performances for their clients.
So when you went on these interviews, did they discuss transforming your client's business and improving the customer's business performance at all?
Yeah, so there were scenario-based questions that they asked me, and I felt like I was very well prepared for it because of the class. That's a large part of what we do in the class. They literally gave me technology that was from like 1974, things that I had to Google it. And then when I looked at it, it looked like a supercomputer. And they said, and we went over these things in class. And what I did was I looked at the systems and I overhauled the systems and to help them be more efficient and optimize their security for a financial institution, for example. And that's where I am now.
So scenario-based, how would you do this? Wow, that's kind of there. Now, here's the thing. anybody that goes through my program will be hired if they do the work. Because do we kick anybody out?
Nope. That's one of the questions I had. I said, "Hey, Michael, I know this isn't exactly where I want to be at, but I got this job opportunity, and I want to earn this amount of money for the time being until I grow. Is that going to be an issue?" You said, "Delroy, of course not. You can go to. I'm very happy that you got that opportunity. I think you should take that opportunity, and I think you should also continue to come into our classes whenever you want, when you need to be. I know my work schedule was going to be kind of tough because I just got that new job, but I was able to do both and succeed."
Now, I work with engineers to make them architects, and they often have a harder time than people that have no engineering background.
Yes.
And sometimes, for example, this week, I had a couple of mental health tics and a few non-technical background. We have a student at Jermaine. He's from Jamaica. God, he's a really great guy, hardworking, motivated, love him, wonderful personality. He had a landscaping business.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when the engineers come in, the biggest challenge I have with them is rebranding them.
Yeah.
Making the hiring manager think they're not an engineer anymore. Removing half of the certifications that are sitting on their resume.
Mm-hmm.
Getting them not to dive deep into tech, but to discuss transformation. You saw that, right?
Of course. So I even saw it at work, right? There's an engineer that I love to death, and he's an amazing guy. But when he gets to talking to like our C-level suite, he just engineers it too much. It's just too much information that they can't really do anything with. So it's almost like he's just talking into the wind, and that makes it very difficult for him to convey his point instead of just learning that, like you said, that skill to not do that. It's the hard part of taking the engineer out of them and making them an architect. You said it, as you say it a lot of times in class. If they hire you as an architect and you try to engineer it, you might as well just go ahead and say goodbye now.
Yeah. And I'll tell you the biggest mistakes that I've made in my career that almost got me fired early in my career. I was a brand new architect, and I was designing this global network. I mean, it was the cool network. It was huge. And there was a BGP issue at one part of the network, and I was like, juicy. I've got 10,000 hours of BGP experience. I'm going to do this. And I did. Now, as soon as I focused on the BGP, that got rectified. But I lost my train of thought because I was focused on the wrong thing and missed a huge issue in the design. Huge.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't fly the airplane and hand the drinks out and keep people in their seats and do the oxygen at the same time. Mm-hmm. The doctor can't be in that office and be delivering medications at the hospital at the same time. So I love engineers. So the engineer's biggest challenge is to lose the engineering background and then be retrained. No, you had no background, so training you to be an architect was easy. Mm-hmm. I just taught you what you needed to know. So I know you've been with me. I know you've been wildly successful. Like I said, you can afford a single family home and 2 Mercedeses and still save money for less than $1,000. And why am I proud of that? Because I want to change people's lives. I spent about $250,000 on education between what I paid and my employers paid. I've got family members that spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in education for law degrees that earn less than you. So why should you do my training and not Udemy's? Udemy will never deliver you these kind of results. But you can do your Udemy training if that's what you desire. You can spend years on it. But then when you're done, make sure you take a presentation skills course. It will cost you a few $1,000s. When you're done that, get an executive presence course like I did. I took 3 of them. And you know what? That was about $25,000, $30,000 for me to train in that, to be able to teach this. Now, guess what? I took leadership courses, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 plus an MBA. And I needed that to teach this. So look, you guys can get this training elsewhere. I'm not the exclusive provider at it. I'm just taking what will cost you $50,000 to $100,000 to do on your own and making it a single day's pay for the average graduate because I want to.
And then, Michael, if you don't mind me chiming in on this point, real quick, I had this really big presentation to go up for to do because I'm the lead, and I had to do this very important presentation. And I literally the night before, 3 nights before, I went through your presentation section of the course. I took my notes down, I jotted them down from your course, and I literally just took what exactly you said, the information that I had, coupled it together, prepared very well for the next two nights, and then I presented it to the C-suite of our organization, and it went over very well. My manager was very happy with the presentation. He called me afterwards. He said, "Thank you so much for this. It was amazing," and I got a lot of questions from C-level executives about how can we improve the business, how can we do that. I was able to answer those questions as well. So I feel like I got their confidence and not only their respect moving forward for that position.
Love that. And thank you. That's a perfect example. So, that's what they're looking for. That's what they need. So it's really about your communication skills, your executive presence. Did you even know what executive presence was before you met me?
No.
Or CXO relevancy?
No.
Or ROI modeling?
No.
I mean, so the business acumen, the leadership really is what made the difference for you.
Yes, that was the world of the difference. That it wasn't about configuring anything. It wasn't about the certification. It wasn't about this and that. It was about understanding the technology, what the technology does, how can it help the business, and then also it's okay to learn these things, to know how to configure if you desire an engineering role, but for an architecture role, like we said earlier, it's not necessary.
And let's think about the focus. You're an Olympic gold medalist in my mind. You're a champion. Here's why. You've already won. You got the gold, and you're 25 years old. You got that gold medal already. You got the job that people dream about, that people spend $200,000 and $300,000 education just to be in your position. You've done it. You're 25. You're already there. So if you had split your focus and tried to learn engineering, which requires a different thinking mindset than an architect,
of course,
would that have made you better at this job?
No, it would have made it it would have made it just 10 times as harder than what it really needed to be. If I was learning how to configure X, Y, and Z instead of learning what I need to learn to be a successful architect.
I like to say, you want to build your life, look at who you're with. Yeah, guys, please give us a like or a comment or a subscribe. Tell your friends, because we want to help everybody get cloud hired. So let's kind of keep about this. So if you split your focus, could you even learn your career?
No, I think you really have to dial in, zero in on what you need to learn, which is right here in the architecture section, and really, really go hard at that. And then that's when you're going to get the best results. I think really dialing in and locking in and focusing on the material that's there is what you're going to need in order to get to that level of success that we talked about.
Now, I knew initially you had a resume and it had acronym, cert, techie stuff. And I said, we have to remove the skills. And we had to change it to the impact of the decisions you made.
It makes me cringy now thinking about what my old resume even looked like compared to now. Oh my goodness. It was bad. I remember one time we were having a conversation. You said, "Delroy, what did you do? What are you doing? What do you do for a living?" And I gave you acronyms. I gave you all the tech words. I gave you all the words that sounded cool amongst engineers. And you're like, "Delroy, I don't know what any of this means. Please try again and I'll come to class tomorrow and we're going to go over this." And after that, I learned how not to use certain words, certain functions, how to speak to certain audiences, how to explain exactly what I did for a living, how to, get rid of that bad habit of using acronyms. I remember I said I do VM, and you're like, "What is VM? Virtual machines?"
I think I asked you, and I remember we had this conversation or this message exchange. You at your current job, they hired you as your previous job, they hired you as a consultant, and they wanted to hire you full time. And we wanted to make sure we negotiated the highest salary out of them that we could. So you would send a message to our group, and I'm like, "Well, what do you do?" My team was trying to evaluate how we could help you. And you said, "I do VM and this." And I was outside when I received the Slack message from you. And it was like 95 degrees. I was doing yoga, my daily yoga practice for the day. I get this message and I'm like, I know this. I feel this Slack message. I'm going to do it. So I opened it up. And you sent me this message on Slack. I do this. And I was like, translate that to English for me, Delroy, and bring it to class tomorrow. Back to yoga. No. If you told me what it was, I would have been there. But I had no idea what you meant.
And I'm really happy that we went over that we went over that as a group, because I feel like a lot of students did struggle with that as well, that were, in that position as well, with overcomplicating certain things and using acronyms. I think that simple thing, like that subtle piece of wisdom, and it's that subtle advice, is what's going to take you from being hired to not being hired, because no one really cares about the acronyms, or no one really understands the acronyms, or the C level executive is not going to understand an acronym. He's not. He's just simply not. If you can clearly explain your topics with simple words and attach how it impacts the business, you'll get hired.
You'll get hired if you train for the job you want and you communicate like you belong in that job. Now, here's the thing. When I train engineers, and I love engineers, they have to do things that are different than architects. If they look like an architect and walk and talk like an architect, nobody will take them seriously as an engineer. But when you take a great art engineer and they look for an architect job, whoa, nobody will take them seriously either unless you transform them, because the jobs are so different. What's one thing that I look for a resume that's a dead giveaway? Cloud architect, pipe cloud engineer. I know the person doesn't even know what the job is, and they can't do either one because they don't even know what the job is, or they know you can't be both. So no sysops, no DevOps, no bunch of ridiculous certifications on there. Focus training, focus skills, executive presence, you said, communication skills,
Correct.
Sales skills, leadership skills, CXO relevancies. Did they talk about writing documents?
No, we didn't talk a lot about writing documents.
Okay, that's good news. I'm going to tell you that's going to be 25% of your job is going to be writing documents.
Okay.
So they told you to be entertaining clients. I'm going to tell you, you're going to spend about 25% of your time buying lunches and drinks.
Mm-hmm.
Probably another 25 to 35 or 40% of your time delivering presentations and writing documents, responding to RFIs, requests for information, RFPs, requests for proposals, RFQs, requests for quotes or pricing. I can tell you what you're never going to do. Hands-on, touch that technology. It's done. So you still need to remember, what is the tech? How does the tech work? Why do you use it?
Mm-hmm.
But for now, it's about bringing the right people in. So Delroy, now you got a cloud security project, and I trained you well. You are a solid security architect. I don't ever want you to design anything on your own, ever. I want you, when you've got a security thing, have a hypothesis in your head. Call Fortinet and see what their solution is. Call Palo Alto, see what their solution is. Call Cisco, see what their solution is. Call Checkpoint and see what their solution is, and have conversations with them. Let them begin their best and brightest. Then go back to your company. Again, bring in a team and etc. Build that team and don't do it on your own. In the beginning, we said you were working as an EMT before you found us. Mm-hmm. Now you got your first cloud security architect job. Did you have any tech background before you met us?
No.
Now, when the students get hired, like Romanik Ivan Tamba with no tech background, or Jermaine with no tech background, or Jeannie with no tech background, or Coyote with no tech background, and you heard all these other people, you can't get a solution architect job without starting at the bottom and learning over 10 years. And my students are doing it in less than a year, about a year for you. What do you have to say to people saying it can't be done?
I think if those who say they can, those who say they can't, they're probably right. Those who say they can, they probably can, right? It's all about your focus and your drive and your determination. The material in this course is here. It's the ability to do it is there. There's students that say they have done it, and there's proof. So you can do it. I think the hardest thing is just, believing that you can do it and then going out and setting out to do the work. I think that's it. It is very feasible. It's very possible. It's affordable, and the return on your investment is substantially great. So I think it's very possible. And I think that's what I have to say to those who say they can't. You can. You just got to put in the work.
Everybody, listen to this 25-year-old. You can do anything you want. People call me and they want to tell me about their 20 years experience and say, hey, am I good enough? And I say, I have someone that didn't graduate high school that got hired as a cloud architect by the world's largest bank. And his last job was selling shoes at Nordstrom. And Then we've got Delroy. He was an EMT like me. But did you hear what Delroy said? If you don't believe you can do it, you can't do it. If you think you will fail, you will fail. If you don't believe in yourself, you won't believe in yourself. Look at how calm Delroy is. Look at how confident he is. You don't see him as 25. When I hear him, does he seem 25 to you? No. The person that just asked, was a degree required? I just told you that Daniel from my team got hired and he didn't even graduate high school. And he got a cloud architect job at JP Morgan Chase. Now, Daniel, like Delroy, had a mind that's willing to do anything, a heart of gold, and would not quit until he got it. Now, in his case, I made him write a document to learn how to write. I sent that document back to him over 7 times. On the 8th time, you know what he said to me? Is this ever going to end? And I said, not until it's right. I said, here's the thing. I one time had a document like this. I just sent it to my coach 76 times before he said I was good enough. I said, you're only at 7. You got about 69 more shots to go. And then you'll be with me. And if it takes you 80, I don't care. It's what it's going to take till you got there. So do you think your determination to not quit until you got successful had anything to do with your success?
Definitely. I had a opportunity to speak to Daniel privately as well. And Daniel's the same way. Like, we're wired the very similar background. Both of our parents are from, out of the country as well. Grew up very similar. So when Daniel just told me, it's almost like you can feel it. You can feel that he's a competitor as well. He's willing to push himself past his limitations to get to where he needs to be. And he obviously did, because now he's working for one of the largest financial institutions in the world.
And I've said the same thing to Daniel, and you know how I feel about you. You've been to my house. Daniel's exactly just like you, who I wish I would have if I had a son. Exactly like you. Hardworking, motivated, good heart. Prior to this course, guess what? And really, you can see how emotional I get when my students get hired and it changes their lives. But here's the key. You won't quit until the end.
Yeah.
You won't quit. Today, I had to take a 5-minute break when I was teaching class. I've got a student, Marla. I like to call her the CEO because she reminds me of my executive coach, and she is I can see the leadership and the executive presence and the communication. She gave feedback that I didn't even think of, and that's why I leverage the community. So I'm going to bring in the rest of the team now. I didn't actually plan on interviewing you at all. I actually planned on having a lively discussion, but someone put a thing in there, acted like we would delete the messages, which we would never do. I don't even get to see which messages are in there. Occasionally I see one on a screen. I'm focused on a screen. I don't have cherry pick anything. We answer questions, and I answer these questions constantly. Why certification will not get you hired and what you need to do to get hired. But you did certifications before me, and you went on 20 interviews. Did you ever get hired?
No, Michael, my last course, I just want to touch on this very briefly. So I was in this program before. I showed up every day. They had class. I did what they told me to do. I did the labs. I got the certification they told me to go get. And then he was like, now apply to 45 jobs a day, and hopefully something will hit. We never talked about some of the secret sauce on LinkedIn. We never talked about any of the interviewing skills. We never talked about any of the business and emotional intelligence aspect skills. We never talked about any of those things. And I was drawing blanks for a very, very long time. And then I called you. I never forget. I was standing outside of the bait shop because I was about to go fishing on a Sunday. I called and you answered the phone on a Sunday. And I was like, this guy is serious. He's serious. He answered the phone on a Sunday at 6:00. You know that if you live in the South, you know the perfect time to go fishing. And that's when I called him. And then he answered the phone and we talked literally. I stood outside, standing in the same spot I was in, because you grabbed me with your passion and your desire to see me succeed. And you answered all my questions. Not only did you answer all my questions, you gave me more information to go home with. And I said, you know what? I don't care what it takes. I want this, and I want this course. And I enrolled in it that same night, and this is where I am now. So it's probably it's the best financial decisions I ever made. One of the best academic decisions I ever made to get an instruction from you.
Thank you for that. I appreciate all the feedback. I live for this, for the cloud hires. You know it. I know it. When I will bring in Chris and me and Elonzo, and every time we get a cloud hired, sometimes I find about it. Sometimes Chris finds out about it. I mean, It's like a party among us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I got my
definitely.
Diet Coke here for the party.
Love it.
It's like a party. I mean, we all celebrated Elonzo. That's why he's here. That's why he's here.
Torino
Like, you
says
may
he's
notice
next.
that we've got stuff coming in from multiple groups, multiple LinkedIn, and here's the thing. So you know me, never a single cloud, never a single service provider. So today, when our AWS Bootcamp, we streamed on Twitch and YouTube. Well,
Nice.
you know, that's not enough redundancy for me. So tonight we're streaming live on Twitch, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, and even Facebook, just for the fun of it. So 1 is none, 2 is 1, and 3 is greater than 2.
Yeah.
So there's this. You guys have anything to add?
I'm just blown away. Like we said earlier, although Delroy's 25, his overall appearance, stature, his aura is well beyond the years. He's at his age, he is asking folks probably twice his age about direction on the leadership of the organization, which could be well in the millions, multi-million-dollar organizations, and they're looking to him at his age for direction, for ideas, for solutions. And that says a lot, not only about who Delroy is, but also the work that he put in to complete the program and the overall program itself. I say time and time again, the program works if you do. This is not an easy program, but it is a challenging program. It is something that everyone can benefit from, no matter where your background is, where you come from, what you were doing 2 months ago. And we had plenty of those who we call cloud hired. They were doing a whole total different job a few months ago. And yet here, professionals like Delroy, the dreams are coming true. They're making salaries that they probably never thought would come across their table a year ago. And here we are today talking, singing, and congratulating and reveling in his success. And this is what I live for. And you could probably hear it in my voice. I love coming here. I love hearing. And Mike or Chris, they'll call me late at night, or they'll text
Yeah,
me.
I'm pulling up our messages from last night.
Yeah.
I think it was it last night or today? I can't.
It was today. It was.
There was one late last night too, I think.
And one last night. And this is
Okay,
I
yeah.
live for this. When I can and I can imagine the look on Delroy's face when he got the offer, the look on Delroy's face when they gave him how much he's going to get compensated, the bonus structure. And he probably looked back and said years ago, when he started the program, and I know Mike will put you through the paces because he commands and demands excellence because he knows what could be at stake, aka opportunity cost, if this thing isn't accomplished. So it's I feel like Stephen A, like watching a basketball game. I'm loving the information. I'm loving the play-by-play. I'm loving to see the excitement in the chats, the inspiration that Delroy and Daniel and many others that we can't say right now, but are getting the news that they have been hired. It gets me energized and it gets me hyped to see it. Chris, take it away, man, because I love it.
I mean, just a perfect example. Last night, Mike sends a message. So-and-so just got a great cloud architect job.
Yeah.
And I'm in the middle of reconstructing my house, so I just say awesome. That's all I have the energy for. And Alonzo says yes in all caps, 3 exclamation points. That's fantastic. And so like that's like every day. And I mean, Delroy will tell you that Delroy and I have been trying to do this since he took his what I'm going to call temporary job. You know, the job. We've been trying to do this since you took that job early on in the program. You know, and it's just. And then this situation popped up, and we're like, okay, we're just going to hold off for a little bit and keep mum about it and not say anything, and because we don't want to mess anything up.
I'm going to add something to this because I'm really grateful for Chris for doing this. Chris said, I'm going to take videos of the students when they get hired. And I said to Chris, why on earth would we do this? Our job is to help people get hired. And he says, Mike, it's important for the students to see it and other people to see it. So Chris started doing it. And thank you for this, Chris. Well, you know, I've noticed, and my team has noticed, that the people that are making certifications, first they told you get more certifications and you'll get hired.
Yeah.
when we made it clear and showed the world that certifications will not get you any kind of cloud architect job or solution architect job ever, now they're trying to parrot my themes. Now, their solution, one of them decided to put Git projects out there. Did you ever discuss Git in your life on one of these interviews, Delroy?
Never.
And if you had Git projects on your resume, do you think they'd have had any interest in you, or they would have said, this is not an architect?
They would have just passed on me. For sure. They probably wouldn't even look at my resume.
They just said, get out of here.
Right. Get going.
That's
literally one of the employees on my team used one of these Slack channels that's out there that's going to get people hired because recruiters follow it. And this person literally sent messages, why can't I get hired? And the person paused their notifications. And that was there. So, look.
I literally only turn off my notifications when I had COVID.
Yep.
That is the only time that I've ever turned off my notifications.
Yes.
I had to, because otherwise I was going to keep responding to stuff and not getting better.
The only time Chris will ever turn off any notifications is my notifications if it's 10 o'clock at night, where I send him about 15 to 20 things.
Yes.
But he still responds to the students.
Yeah. I might mute Mike, but I'm not going to mute the student.
And I know that he'll never mute the students. And see, I know that in my heart. And that's the thing for me is, look, everybody deserves downtime, but the students, they're pretty prioritized around here.
I could definitely attest to that as well. Like the staff here is very, very intentional about their students and about their success, right? Chris answers the questions, from the technical questions. Hey, the link's not working for the Zoom chat, to do you know where that video where they talked about optimizing our LinkedIn pages? So, like I said, the staff here is just very, very intentional. Mike, with I text Mike, like, what do you feel like my role is going to be like? What's my first day at work going to be like? What's this going to be like? And Mike answers. Elonzo's there. Everybody's there to help the team move, to help the students move along very smoothly.
And sometimes our graduates, they stay with us for a month or two after they're hired because they're a little scared for their jobs.
Yep. There was a couple. I mean, like I said, I'm going to be here for a while. I'm going to be here for as long as possible because I really like helping, the students out. I really like when Mike sends them my way, and I can hear like the concern in their voice almost. Same concern I had. They asked literally the same 10 questions I had to Michael, and I can reassure them that, you're in the right place. If you show up, you do what you're supposed to do, you'll get to where you need to be for sure.
So I'm going to bring this in. And this is.
I am so happy. I see one of my students is back. The student had to take a break for family reasons. He's out there in California. I am so happy to have you back. I see your name. Glad to be back with family, and we are so thrilled to have you back. Let me go back to you, Chris.
All right. So, I was going to say this discussion lends itself to a question that I can't seem to pull in. We're having some trouble pulling in all the questions from LinkedIn. Only some of them are coming through. But somebody asked, and I feel like this is an appropriate question. Be nice, be easy on us, Delroy. Don't be harsh. But somebody said, what if any critique would you have about the program? Where can we improve? Like what thinking back over your year, what would you say? And please be easy. I wear my heart on my sleeve, but yeah, I thought that was a great question to ask.
That is a great question, and I think it's the first question for the night. I don't really have. You guys are, from the time I've been here to the time where we are now, I was one of the very first students. You guys have made massive improvements, from the way that you guys write material, to the way that we communicate, to the way that you got the students that we bring in. So I don't know. I feel like this is a self-improving environment. The improvements that you guys see, Mike's asked me for feedback before in the past, and I think I just turned into a big compliment, honestly. So I think that's what this is. You guys are
to me, you're hired, and that's so as we get better, and please give us feedback. I love when my students give us feedback, but here's the thing: we integrate that feedback to be better, but what we really care is about the results. You're hired, right?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what more feedback can I give than I got a job that pays me really well and I learned everything that I needed to learn. I'm over prepared.
And would you prefer, because we have a lot of people, they ask, do we have a certificate at the end of the course? And I'm saying, well, Cloud Hired and getting an offer letter is what we consider graduation. So would you want a certificate?
Here's your certificate of completion.
Yeah, or would you like an offer letter slid across the table outlining your benefits, compensation, and all sorts of other goodies that you would get? So we don't focus on the certification. We focus on the competency.
Yeah. So let's look at it this way. Here's a certificate that we created for you. But now you can afford a 4-bedroom single-family home in term Mercedes for less than $1,000.
Yeah.
Which is better? Here, you got a certificate or being in the position you're being in?
Michael, just to answer that question, I was in a program before. Like I told you, I invested a good amount of money trying to get into this industry, and that program literally did that. They kind of gave me like a test that they had in the in-house test. I obviously passed the in-house test, and they gave me their certification to put on my resume, and it did absolutely nothing for me. Right there, my certification of my certification of completion added $0 to my annual income.
And they never will. And that's the problem. And it's worse when someone wants to be an architect and they get a sysops, a DevOps, and a developer, it drops their income dramatically because they now have a resume that looks unfocused. And when you're looking for a digital transformation specialist and you got sysops and DevOps on there, you're now worth less, half actually.
And then also, I don't like to say this. I don't like to, hard be critical or anybody, but after I completed their certification and I got that, I never heard back from them again. I was like, I'm struggling with the interview part. Where can we go next? How can I get better? I want to get better. Like I want to get through. I want to succeed. But they just had nothing else for me. They had no more gas in their tank. They had I basically just phased out. I basically phased out and they just completely ignored me. So
yeah, I had that happen to me before, definitely.
And I know that happened to Elonzo. I know it happened to Elonzo. Now, if I asked Chris and said, what's the cheapest we can offer this course for and still run our business? And he said 30% off, which is what, now you know why we're doing the 30% off coupon code potential for anybody that wants to buy this for everything except for our 4-hour resume training. Oh, by the way, I added, did you have to look for jobs or did they come to you based upon the LinkedIn and resume
Michael,
profile?
They were DMing me like crazy. I think I could probably show you like, if I could show you like my DMs right now in LinkedIn. It's flooded. It's nonstop. Are you interested? Do you want to come here? Can we talk? Do you want to talk to the hiring manager tomorrow? What does your calendar look like? Literally, at least maybe like 5 a week. 5.
Okay, so wait. Without a million certifications and no DevOps background, no actual work experience as an architect, brand new to tech, recruiters reach out to you every day after our LinkedIn resume training?
Yep. After we literally had the secret sauce on how to improve your LinkedIn resume. I did it, and a company rhyming with Zoogle reached out to me and wanted an interview. And I was like, this isn't necessarily what I'm looking for right now, but thank you very much. And I kept it moving.
Oh, wait. A huge cloud provider that rhymes with Zoogle reached out to someone with no work experience because you had the perfect optimized resume. Now, here's the thing. If you had the perfect resume and didn't have anything to back it up, you got the interview. And what would happen if you didn't know? You'd be told, come back when you have more experience.
Mm-hmm. I would have burned.
And prior to me, when you did certification training, you once said you went on 20 interviews, and each one said to come back when you have more experience. And 3 weeks in our program, you hit 3 offers. Did anybody care about your experience or lack thereof, or did they care about your competency?
No, the competency was there for sure. That's all that mattered. Like I said, Zoogle was very interested. And then it was amazing because in our course you taught us how to decipher and what kind of questions we should be asking the jobs, right? And I was asking them those questions that you told me we should be asking them. And I was like, yeah, this is one of those things where Michael says this is kind of what you need to stay away from. And I asked you, I was like, Michael, do you think this is a good idea? He's like, you already know what I think about this. Is this something that you really want to do? I was like, no, not really. And then, like you taught us how to decipher those questions, how to decipher the resume, how to ask questions to get those information out of the questions that they don't want to answer out of the hiring manager. And I was able to do that. And I realized that wasn't the opportunity for me. So I, politely, moved forward.
Yeah, exactly. So really, that's the key.
Well, I
You
mean,
learn how to reject
Google,
people here. You learn how to tell people no here, politely, respectfully.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you
Treat
talk
him like
about
a parachute and let him down easy.
Yeah.
but you got to remember. I don't know if Delroy. I don't know if you were in the program yet at the time, but last summer we had. It wasn't from Zoogle, but it was from like what's it called? Like the Nile Web Services or Mississippi River Web Services. I'm not going to call it what it is since we're going with Zoogle, but they came on our platform.
Oh, yeah.
Class last summer, talking about exactly about why that particular hiring manager at that cloud provider wanted people from our program.
Yeah.
And it's about everything that we're talking about here. They're the largest cloud provider in the country, and they wanted our students for exactly what we're talking about.
Yep.
And when that director level person came, Delroy, and he said, I love Go Cloud Career students for the following reason. All I get are people that know the name of the service and how to configure it when I need someone that can design and sell and present. He said, I need emotionally intelligent people with soft skills, with leadership skills, with executive presence, that can do an ROI model, that have business acumen. I need that. Then that's why he liked our things. How much of that got you hired?
That definitely got me in the door. That was the secret sauce. That was what definitely got me in there. And I remember that interview too, because I was there. I was like, this is amazing. Udemy's not gonna get, this big MSP to come down and talk to us as individuals, where we can ask the hiring manager of this huge company that runs this section of the region, hey, what do you guys need? What do you want? What are you looking for? Then for what he said, what he wanted was directly aligned to what we were learning. It was just even that more confidence inspiring that, hey, we're on the right path. Udemy's not going to have one of the 3 big cloud providers come down and say, I'm looking for people. Mike, who do you have ready? And Mike's like, I got this person, I got that person, and this person's ready to go. Give this guy 2 more weeks, he's going to be out of here. Give this other guy 3 more months, he's going to be out of here. And that's literally what happens in this program. That's not going to happen in Udemy.
And
but you get a certificate though, right?
You got a certificate. You attended the class, but that's not getting anybody hard. So let's talk about what the secret sauce is and how you get it.
Yeah.
If you take our Cloud Architect Career Development Program, you will get it. If you take our Tech Career Accelerator Program, you will get it. And if you don't want to take our training, you still need this training. Mm-hmm. Now, here's the thing: our training is going to be about a single day's pay or less than $1,000. And if you do it on your own, it's going to cost you at least $50,000. It costs about $250,000 for you to learn these skills that I teach. So if you're not with me, you need a good presentation skills class. The kind of people that are run by executives that will coach you. There's a good company called Speakeasy. You can take 2 of their courses. It'll cost you $5,000 or $6,000, but that'll give you some good introductory level skills. Then emotional intelligence. We teach it heavily, and we have special emotional intelligence training that's some of the best in the world, because we're taking branches of medicine, cognitive behavior therapy, meditation, and also traditional, how to manage your emotions and other emotions. But if you're not with us, you can spend a week or so with Daniel Goleman, pay a couple $1,000s for that. You're going to need a couple of these things. Now, you're going to have to know how to do some ROI modeling. You can take a couple $1,000 course in an MBA program and learn those kind of things, etc. Next, a course on CXO relevancy. I took 3 of them. They were about $5,000 each to learn these things. You can do them on your own. Now, you need to know how to sell. And I spent thousands of dollars to learn how to sell. But, you're going to need some sales training. Now, I also needed executive presence training. And how did I get that? With executive coaches. Normal executive coaches cost $400 to $1,000 an hour. And I also had lots of $5,000 executive presentation credits. Now, next is leadership skills, because they're going to be looking for your leadership skills. Well, you can get some of them in an MBA, etc. So you don't take our course, you can do that in an MBA. Now, we're also talking about executive writing skills, which is the exact opposite of what they teach you in an MBA program. So you will need to learn this too, and you'll have to take training. Again, spent thousands of dollars on training on this. And I can go on and go on. These are the secret sauce. But we put this secret sauce in all of our programs. And that's why our students get hired and paid so much more than the rest.
That, Michael, with all that just being encompassed into the program and putting it under one roof is truly incredible. Let me just say that and say thank you as a student, because there's no way I would have got that anywhere else, right?
Yeah.
And what took me maybe till I got to probably year 15 in my career to actually learn that. And I was able to grab it all in a year, and it was tremendously helpful to who I am today. And even the yoga, right? I took the yoga piece and I ran with it on myself. I started doing my own research on yoga, and that really, really, I feel like made me not only a better professional, but just a better human being in general. I don't nearly get as frustrated anymore. Just a lot of things started changing in my life when I started adding that meditation piece to my life, which was inspired by, the course as well.
And, I'm going to address the same question from Rumor Legend, and then I'm going to hold some for Chris. Yes, I did say $5,000 the same way I said bacon and eggs. And it came out very casually for me. Here's the reason. A good architect with some training and experience and executive presence, 2-3 years in, is earning $300,000-$400,000 a year. Now, if they're a techie architect, they're going to be earning $100,000 to $110,000. So yes, there's this. And Rumor Legend, I have a $250,000 education to learn these skills. So if somebody could spend $5,000 and earn $150,000 or more a year, I think it's cheap.
Well, and the thing about it is we want everybody that's watching to be able to talk about $5,000 like you're buying a bacon, egg, and cheese from McDonald's.
Yeah.
Like that's what we want for you. Like
we do.
As we asked Delroy at the beginning, without getting into specifics, he can now get a 4-bedroom house, 2 high-end cars, and have money left over to save on just his income, not even a significant other or a partner or anything else.
And I want to put the difference between finance professionals and everybody else. Now, Delroy, if you had to spend $400 per week for an executive coach, and they could get you to $400,000 in 2 years, would it be worth it?
I'm spending it. I'd spend yes. Where is he? Where is she? Or where is he?
But you know what? What makes it so great is that Delroy, at his age,
oh my God,
has obtained so much. And think about it. When we talk about Zoogle, he turned them down. Now, Zoogle is known for very lucrative salaries, and he's like, your guys are just not for me. And that type of confidence doesn't come from anywhere but outside of the training, understanding your worth, your value, what you've learned from this program, and being able to execute and know, like, I can pick what I want.
Right. Yeah. At 25 years, man, if I could have said no to somebody at 25 years old,
with those large companies, I'm like,
and we're talking about 11 years later for me.
Yeah.
That's like, and this is me personally speaking, like, and I think about this when I think about Daniel. I think about it when I think about Abigail and Ryan and Chow and all these people that are like, I'm now the gray-haired guy that's like, man, if only I could have blah 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 blah.
And I'm the no-haired guy. So.
but I'm serious. If
realistically,
the position that we're trying to get people into is exponentially better than where I was, like, because I want people to have it better. I want people, like, I don't have kids, so everybody talks about how you want to leave your kids off better than you were. Yeah. Well, I don't have kids, so I want to leave you. I want to leave y'all off better than I was. So that's where I come in on that. So I got a question for you, Delroy. Mm-hmm. So I know you got a job early on in the program.
Yeah.
Which I'm guessing that was significantly better to a degree than your previous before the program. Okay.
Yes.
So even at that, were you comfortable? Like, could you be comfortable?
Yeah, a lot. Like that was I feel like within like the past year I've been with you guys, it's been like 2 completely different lifestyle changes. Like that was crazy. Now this is when like super, super crazy.
Gotcha.
Like,
All right. So my follow-up question, since you were working full time, was there ever a time in the past year that you didn't do what we said? Be honest.
Be honest. It's fine. Be honest.
And I want to. The reason I ask is I want to find out: was it difficult? Or if you didn't follow our direction, did you find out that it would have been easier if you had?
I followed Michael's direction to the T.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's what I remembered, was that you followed it to the T. You weren't like Daniel, who'd stopped for like 5 months. I'm going to do it on my own.
Yeah.
And then what happened when Daniel came back? I have a certified solution architect professional, and I said, "How does this work?" And I don't know. How does this work? I don't know. And I said, "Now I need you to forget all that garbage that you learned, and I'm going to train you from scratch." And that's
we love you, Daniel, by the way.
But
We love Daniel. Daniel is another one. Like I said, I wish he was my son. Like if I had a son, I want it to be just like Daniel and Delroy. That's how much I care about Daniel. And we just exchanged a message about how many meetings he's going through. He's in meetings, and more meetings. Well, he's not working on the technology, but he's in lots of meetings and he's designing it, and he's a rock star.
When I got into the course, I followed Michael very closely. Michael gave me a direct, tailor-made pattern of what I need to do: show up to class, participate in class, and then Michael. I don't know if anybody else noticed it, but Michael, when I was in class, he challenged me to literally speak to technology. I felt like he was kind of picking on me a little bit. But
I got a question. Does he do that just to you?
No, you can see that he works on everybody like that. There's people that are very intentional about being in class and they want to get better, and Michael takes those people and really molds them to get better. And I feel like he did that with me. There's a gentleman that does like endpoint security that in our class, and he's came a tremendous way from the time he just started to now. And I think he had a technical problem. It was just maybe his presentation skills. He went from probably like a 20 to like 110 now. I heard him talk last time, and I was like, yeah, I don't know what he's selling, but I want it.
So we've got
Actually, Delroy says something to me, and I'm going to actually ask you to clarify it.
Okay.
So I had a call with Delroy about a month ago, and we're talking about salary negotiations, and he said, "Mike, I feel like I'm talking to Yoda." What did you mean by that?
We've gone here before.
I had to ask Chris, who was yoga, and is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Is it an insult? And he said, "No, Mike, it's a good thing." So could you
it is one of the best compliments in the world, Mike. We got to get Mike on some culture here, and we'll work with that, everyone. But yeah, awesome compliment. When you equate it to Yoda, you are a sage oracle of wellspring of knowledge, Mike, just to break it down for you.
Yoda is the equivalent of a Guruji.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
Galactic Guruji. That's what we can call.
He is the Guruji from Star Wars.
Yes.
I saw. Okay, wonderful. And I've never seen Star Wars, so maybe I should. You know what?
Don't say that out loud, Mike. Mike, do not say that out loud.
Okay. So, Elonzo, when you come to Florida, in addition to all those other cool things we do, we got to go watch Star Wars. Because, that kind of sounds pretty exciting to me. Absolutely love it. So, any of you guys have comments or maybe some questions? I'd like people to ask their questions.
You already got somebody commenting because you haven't seen Star Wars.
So I want people to truly understand me. What do I do in my life? I spent my youth learning internal medicine. I then took the lessons from internal medicine and communication, finding out things. And from there, I became a network engineer and a network architect, and then an enterprise architect. And for the last 20 years, what have I done? Coach people to get hired while being an architect until I retired when I was 34. So the only thing I know is this following: cloud, network, and data center architecture. That's it. How to get people hired, paid more, and promoted. That's it. And internal medicine. I don't know anything else about anything else. I am singular focused on these three things. My brother's here right now, and he's the greatest guy I've ever met. Apparently, HBO Max is not working on my TV, and I had to ask him to fix it. because I know my world, how to design, how to architect, how to this. And I've designed billion-dollar architecture, and I've got more people hired than I can count. And I've only had one person that I could ever get laid off, and they had a $100,000 plus severance and a $300,000 job within 3 days to a week. So that's all I know. But you know what I don't know? Anything else. So thank you, and please culture me to American culture.
Oh yeah. All right, so we've got questions that we need to get to from
Let's get to some questions.
Yes, let's get to them.
So,
I'd love it.
give me a second. I need to put this in the thing since I just put the banner up. Quite difficult to be a producer and a participant at the same time. It's very
That's why I can't moderate comments or things, and you never see me cherry picking because I can't touch them. But on Thursday, we're gonna have a How to Get Your First Cloud Job webinar. Please sign up. We'll tell you everything you need to know to get hired on that webinar. What you need to know, what should be on your resume, what your resume really is, how to convince the hiring manager you have experience when you don't, et cetera, how to get past HR.
Okay, so I got my little spreadsheet here. Let me go find these questions.
Okay.
I gotta scroll back because these are ones that came in while you guys were talking that I was saving.
You mentioned HR, Mike. I never had to deal with HR after I joined this program.
Because people came to you, right? And you went straight to the hiring manager. You never applied for any of these jobs, right?
No, I never applied for anyone. They might have been like, "Can you just fill out the application real quick, just to tick it off real quick?" But I never filled out an application for any of these jobs.
Yeah, so they made the determination to hire you before you got it.
Yeah.
All right. So Rohan, who's one of our participants, asked, "Did you ever get discouraged when doing the assignments?" Be honest.
Good question.
Be honest.
No, not me, at least. No, I can say that I never got discouraged because if I felt like there was a challenge, I couldn't understand it, or I didn't know what was going on, I simply would have asked, and I would have came back to the group chat. I would have asked the group chat, and I would have brought it up in class. And then there was somebody else that probably was struggling with the same thing. And then there was probably another student that already got past it, so they'd tell us. And then Mike was there to kind of guide it along. So no.
Yeah. Delroy, how accessible is the team in the community and Slack channel when you need questions?
If you have a question at 2:30 in the morning, there's somebody probably in Japan that's up, so you can ask that question.
Japan. Yeah. Japan.
So there's it's like we have like an infinite time zone. There's always somebody on, so there's always feedback coming along about your question or your experience, and then Mike's there to oversee it, so the conversation goes right. Chris is there to oversee it. Elonzo's there to oversee it, so we have those guides in place, but the community is always active.
Yeah, that was one of the big reasons why we moved from LinkedIn to Slack, because when we first started, when Mike started by himself before I existed, he was trying to manage all of this in a LinkedIn private group where everything was on the same wall or same page. And so that was one of the reasons why I really pushed for the Slack, was so that we could have channels dedicated to career questions, tech questions, help desk. Hey, this didn't work, and my link's not working. Chris, fix it.
The Chris Fix It channel.
Yeah, the Chris Fix It channel.
And that turned into Chris, and then Chris and Leo, and then Chris, Leo, and Chow, and then Chris, Leo, Chow, and Manuela, and then Chris, Leo, Chow, and Elonzo, and then Chris, Leo. I'm going to keep going. And then we added Abigail recently from the Army. She's a veteran. We're super excited to have her. She's been my student for a while. She's a great cloud architect and a blockchain person too.
And you got Eddie there too.
And Eddie, oh my God, Eddie's this great guy. He's in Cameroon, Bamenda, Cameroon. So we're everywhere, and we love that.
All right. So Lars says, "Congrats, Delroy. Would you tell us how many interviews for your current job? What was the topic of the interviews, and how long were they? Basically, can you give us a breakdown of what the interview process was like for you?"
So the company that I interviewed for, they were tough. I think all good companies make it a little challenging to get through because they want to see if you're serious. So my interview was a 5-round interview process. It took over about a month and a half, I want to say, and then once I kind of started figuring out why it took so long, is because they're architects. They're busy all the time. They're tending to a big customer. They're tending to a small customer. So to get everybody on the same page kind of took some time. So it was a 5-round interview. I met with some of the VP directors on pre-sales. I met some of the more senior architects. I met the hiring. I met the manager. I met some people that weren't necessarily a part of the team. They just wanted to meet me and see if I'd be a good fit for the company itself. So yeah, so it was a 5-round interview. A lot of the questions was trying to get a feeler of who I was. And then towards the end, which is the last stage, they put all the people that I interviewed with, put them into one big panel interview. And then they did the security assessment interview, which was basically going over how would I improve this financial institution's security posture. That's how the entire interview process was from a very high level overview. And I know I just said 5-round interviews, and you're probably nervous. But if you come in here, you're going to be well prepared for all 5 interviews. I'm not trying to be rude, but it was a cakewalk. It wasn't that bad. It was kind of like talking to Michael. Michael tells you a lot of the things that you're going to need to know to be successful in these interviews. How to answer a question that you don't know. I think that's something very, very important, because they will intentionally ask you a question that you have no business knowing unless you literally did the project yesterday with the other guy, right? And then they're gonna see, are you honest? Just give you, are you an honest guy? Are you gonna lie about it? And I literally said, I don't know, but these are the skills that I do have, and this is what I do know. And he said, thank you so much for not lying to me. You can go to the next round.
Oh, wow.
Well, and you got to think about
how
the
many
post
times has Mike
that-
said that in Zoom calls? How many times did he reiterate that?
They reiterated that quite a few times.
Every day I talked about my cookie jar, right?
Yeah.
How in the 5,000 interviews I did prior to creating this program, for which I did another 4,950 people lied to me. Yeah. And since you can't hire someone you don't trust, I actually kept a cookie jar in my office. And I don't need sugar, flour, or butter, any of it. I kept the cookie jar. What is BGP? BGP is a bridging gap book. Have a cookie. Now, if they said, Mike, I'm sorry I've not had the opportunity to learn that yet, but I'm energetic, enthusiastic, highly motivated, and I love technology. I'm hardworking and willing to do whatever it takes to win, but it's not something I'm an expert on. But I know this, this, and this. Would it have been a different conversation?
It would have definitely. No. Say the last part one more time.
You just explained exactly what he did. So it wouldn't have been a different conversation. It would have been the same conversation.
Yeah, I did that. but if that guy said bridging gap protocol and didn't even know what it was, I'd hand him cookies because I didn't care what he or she had to say thereafter.
Yeah.
But if they told me like you did, I don't know this, but I know this real well, I'd start talking to you about what you know real well.
Yep. Yeah. And then after the end, you polish it off with, I do have the acumen to learn and the desire to become successful and add value to the team. So if that's what I need to learn, I'll be more than capable of learning it. And then they're like, thank you. You didn't lie to me. And we obviously that you're intentional about your actions. Thank you.
Yeah. And you mentioned Delroy, you mentioned that it was a cakewalk, but I don't think that's not putting it lightly, and that's not being derogatory. It falls in line with a post that Mike made either Monday, yesterday. It's because you trained the way that you fight. You trained the way that you were going to be doing exactly what you were doing.
And you trained for the job you wanted.
Because you were trained for exactly what you were about to go into, and not trained on a fluffy cloud. You know, you were prepared. And so it was a cakewalk because you am I making that assumption? Is that a correct assumption?
No, that is 100% accurate. When I first started this class, I could not do that I couldn't articulate myself very well when it came to those type of questions because I'd get nervous. I'd kind of fold up, and then I'd be like, I don't know. I'd lose my focus, my words. But like I said, I came into class. I was intentional about getting better on my enunciation, my demeanor, the way that I communicated. And as the class and the years went on, as the year went on, I became better, and got even better at being able to articulate myself. And I was able to.
And before we get to the next question, Chris, it popped up, so I'm going to answer this. Did you apply for any of these jobs, or did they come to you?
No, I didn't apply for anything. All the recruiters hit me up. They called me. The hiring managers called. They said, when are you available? Can we sit down and talk?
So when somebody asked, how did your resume make it through the screening process? It didn't. They came to you because you had the perfect resume. We tuned your resume to be like fishing bait so that hiring managers and recruiters would say, wow, Delroy's a cloud security architect. So they came to you. You don't apply for jobs. If you apply for jobs and you don't have experience, HR is going to knock you down.
Yeah.
You can't apply for jobs. You have to make them come to you.
Yeah. Funny thing about that, and I know Delroy's about to say something, but I just want to throw this out there. So my wife is not currently looking for work, but we did a few things on her resume and her Indeed and her LinkedIn, and just boom, two headhunters just contact her. It's like, okay, all right, boom, not even trying to do anything, but it's the things that we teach.
Yeah,
even though she's not a cloud architect or a cloud engineer, but it's the same concepts that we did. As soon as we did those few little things on there, in the event that she chooses to be looking, she wasn't even trying, and people boom, boom, boom. So
that's literally what happened. I remember we had that lab in class. Mike was like, "Hey, we're gonna do this," but no, I changed my mind. We're gonna do this. We're gonna optimize a couple LinkedIn pages. We literally took people's pages. We went through them, dissected them. What was good about this one? What was not so good about this one? L'Oreal, your experience from this can be transferred over perfectly to this. I watched it. I took notes, and then after that, I just went overhead and articulated it on myself. I brought it back to Michael. He gave me like a couple more pointers to add or to take away. And then and then after that, it started coming. They just started coming very frequently. And then I remember the one mistake I made. I had the big green logo on LinkedIn. You were like, Delroy, please get rid of that immediately.
Oh, yeah. So what he's talking about is, here's the thing. When we learn about exercising influence, people like things that are scarce. When you're married, it's easy to get a date. The world comes to you, because when you're looking for it on your own, you're single, you're nervous, nobody's interested in you. When you have a job, people come to you. When you have a literal business, banks come to you and VCs say, can I fund you? But when you don't have a job, you can't get a loan to save your life.
Yep.
So that's why we built the special portfolios, and that's why they came to you. So Delroy, why don't you ask this question?
Yeah, so the next one is, hello, Delroy, congratulations. How did you start your preparation for the cloud security architect interviews, apart from what you learned in Go Cloud?
So how did I prepare for these interviews before I got here?
I think the way that I'm taking it was, is there anything that you added to what we were doing to prepare you for your interviews, or did you need to add anything to what we were doing?
I just rehearsed. That was the only thing I did. I got dressed, put on my suit and tie, and practiced in the mirror, and that was pretty much about it.
Which is part of our program.
Didn't we talk about preparing, what is, how does it work, how do you use it, recording yourself on video, and looking, did I make a point pause? So that's exactly, you follow the program, which is why you're hired.
This is I remember looking at, like, I was going through my phone deleting stuff, and I literally had like a chunk of videos or of blooper reels of me going over. It was like over like 30 videos of me going, oh shit, never mind. And then like deleting the videos and like starting over. Like, it was just a bunch. I have bloopers. I have bloopers of me practicing my interview on my phone.
I've got a VCR tape. I got it transcribed, and it was when I was at Cisco back in 2001.
What's a
when
VCR?
Cisco hired me to asked me to say, we need to make our engineers better. They're jack of all trades. Can you help make them specialists? And I was taught to teach architecture. And when I gave that first speech, I had about 40 calls from the leaders at Cisco, and they said, bye, Mike. And I said, what do you mean by? They said, you are no longer going to be in your role. Within a month, you're going to be somewhere in a strategic team. And within a month, I was. Wow. So, yeah, it's all about those lessons. And boy, did I film myself a lot of times for that one.
Yep.
Yeah. So our next question is from Young. What would be a great way to stay motivated and overcome your doubts about yourself?
For me, I would have to say, personally, it was the gem that Mike gave with the meditation. I felt like the meditation really, really helped me in those aspects. Like I said, those personal, those mental aspects I brought out that aspect of the course, helped bring a lot of clarity and a lot of the nervousness out of it. And then also the hunger was always there. The strong desire to be successful was there. So I don't think I had much motivation. I just had a very strong desire, and then the clarity to achieve. So that's how I got through that.
Yeah.
All right. So apparently, I made some people laugh for asking what a VCR is. So I'm going to throw it out there. What's a Scantron? I don't know if anybody knows what a Scantron is anymore.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Oh my God, my CISSP exam was on Scantron, and Abigail or someone from my team, the person asked how do you sign up. If you can place that in the chat box, along with the 30% special discount code that we have right now.
All right, yeah, it should be all the people on our team. It's going to be on that comments document that I shared with you guys. So Brian asked, it's a two-parter. So Brian asked, getting the right certification is what can get the foot in the door for interviews. Guess he's been watching you long enough to figure that one out, Mike.
Yeah.
Delroy mentioned his associate's degree. Does Delroy have any certifications that helped get the interview? And did Delroy take his associate's or professional, CCNA, CCNP, or anything like that? Or will he be doing those later?
Okay, so the first question, we can pan back to it real quick, was, okay, so for the certification part, we did label out that Michael said, I remember I showed Mike, I said, hey, Mike, I got the certification. You're like, Dora, this is kind of like a help desk certification. This looks good on Geek Squad. You don't want to be
on the resume.
So let's go ahead and take that out, take your certification out of there, and then, or you can add it to the bottom if you really want to keep it. And then what you really want to do is go after the heavy hitter certifications. The big certification that people usually tell you, I don't know if you mind me saying this, Mike, but usually the certifications that are very powerful, the very moving ones. But that's really only to get past that machine or that algorithm.
Yep. Yeah, to get that first look,
that first glance. Then after that, it's really about what you're going to learn in the course. So that's the answer to the question about the certifications. And then
you have a certified solution architect professional or a CCNP, which are the things that I like because they really do signal get one. But do you have any of that?
No, I don't have any of those. I have like that seems more along the lines of a networking background and then a cloud background. I have a security background, so I don't have any of those. I do have some things tailoring towards the security side, but like I said, I felt like that was just to get past an algorithm, not necessarily
security. Do you have any cloud certifications whatsoever?
No.
Okay. Cloud hired. He can afford a single bedroom, 4-bedroom home, 2 Mercedes without a single certification because he knows how to be an architect.
Yep.
And the garbage ones, the 3 that he had, we removed from his resume. Oh my God, I see Angela Thomas. Angela, she was one of my first.
Angela.
Last I know, she was working as a cloud security architect on some Oracle stuff. An incredible leader, an incredible person, and an incredible architect. Angela, I'm so happy to see you here.
All right, let's find my next question. It's at 6:43. Oh, here it is. Okay, so Angelica asked, how many of your students, and this one's for Mike, of course, are successful, meaning a well-paying job after completing the course?
Everybody that finishes the course is hired.
Yep.
Everyone. Now, I have some people that quit, and I can't get them through. But everyone that does the course gets hired, and here's the reason why. We let them stay in until they're hired or a full year passes. And sometimes longer. So everybody gets hired that does the work. Now, I did have one person, and I'm not joking, and he said, I've been putting my phone on my head when I sleep, and I'm not learning that way. Now, this person, I said to him very quickly, you will not get hired unless you change your tactics. I've had some other people that bought and said, Mike, I want to get hands-on. And I say, but that's not what we do. And they say, but I want to get techie. And I say, maybe I'd like to be a cloud engineer. Like move you to a cloud engineering program. And they're like, but why can't I be an architect? And I said, the architect designs, presents, and sells. And that's what we need to do. These are the skills that you need. If you want to train for somebody else's job, that's great. You can get their job, but you won't be able to get this one.
Mike, I just want to say this also as well, just to elaborate a little bit on that. When I was doing my research on like things like Reddit and, whatever platform that was available to kind of figure out what a cloud architect was, the internet doesn't really have that on there. You're not going to really figure out what a cloud architect really does unless you meet one in person and he takes the time out of his busy schedule to actually talk to you, or you get into one of these courses to actually learn what he actually does. Like I said, the AWS certification did not mention not one time what a cloud architecture does. They mention what their systems or what their service. It's kind of like a brochure. It's like reading a very detail-oriented brochure on what their products configure, how to configure them. Not necessarily what their products, how they can implement a business, help impact the business.
Yeah.
So this is from Scotty, I'm going to take this one.
Yeah. So any advice for someone wanting to transition from software sales to cloud architecture?
I'd say that.
So two things. You have to remember that the cloud is not software sales. The cloud is network and data center sales we're selling. So you do need to learn the data center and the network, whether that be storage, compute, load balancers, routers, switches, etc., 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 etc. You need to know that. So if you are in sales right now and you're used to meeting with C-level executives, great, you have that. If you're used to presenting at audiences of 5,000 people plus, great. If you're used to going to executive briefings, then you're going to be doing a lot of them, great. If you're used to responding to RFIs, RFPs, RFQs, then great, you already have these skills. If you are used to executive writing white papers, etc., then you have these skills. If you're used to leading large teams, great, you have these skills. If not, you can learn the network and data center skills, because what do we do as architects? We take the stuff from the network and the data center and we migrate that stuff to the cloud, which is nothing more than a network and a data center. Now, here's the thing. The certification is the name of a service and how to configure it. Now, an architect and a doctor have the same job. How do I know? I've done both. Early in my life, when you work in medicine, meet with a client, a patient. I ask them about their chief problem. I then examine them, make a diagnosis, and write a plan called the prescription. I'm the architect. I meet with the CEO. Tell me about your business goals, your business pain points, your business challenge. I then bring in a team of cloud engineers to baseline the systems. I then make a diagnosis and I make a plan called an architecture. Now, once the customer designs that, it goes on. So make sure you know how to do some ROI modeling. And if you don't have network and data center backgrounds, we'd love to train you. And you know that, network and data center design, you'll be a cloud architect.
And Michael, just to elaborate a little bit, Chris, I remember at the very beginning of our program, there was a handout that was given to the students that was kind of like a cheat sheet on how to be a good cloud architect. I don't, if you remember what I'm talking about,
I
right?
do.
I literally took that and I brought it to my final round of my interviews, and that sealed the deal for me.
But if you had taken that cheat sheet without actually doing the program, would it have been any?
No, it wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked. Because you're going to learn the cadence and the timing and the vernacular to use and the explosive dialogues you need to use to go ahead and make that cheat sheet come alive. It's just
exactly.
It's just a piece of paper, but you have to make it come alive, right? It was like a violin, right? You still got to be a great violinist to make a good song, and that's what that was.
Nice. Yeah. So Sam asked the question, answering quickly. He's saying, "So you're telling me I don't need an AWS certificate cloud architect? I've gotten people hired without any certifications, but they know how to design, present, and sell." So Dylan, why don't you answer this one?
All right. So
Delroy doesn't have a cloud certification, but he had 3 job offers and he turned down.
Let me find that question. I didn't realize we were gonna.
No, I already answered it. You don't have to get.
Well, you said you were gonna let Delroy answer.
Oh.
It. Yeah, that's why I was confused. But I'll find it.
Delroy, do you need a cloud certificate? Did you have any cloud certifications before you got hired?
No.
And why do you think they didn't care?
Because of my competence, my emotional intelligence, and my business acumen.
That's the reason. And your attitude. Yeah. So Dylan is asking you. So what was your favorite part about the Go Cloud training?
The staff.
Woo! Yeah. Nice. And he's not just saying that because we're here.
the staff. You gotta remember, these guys put this program together. They worked hours. They worked tirelessly. Michael's experience, Elonzo experiences, Chris experiences, blended all into one to make optimize the program for students to effortlessly come in and make a life-changing opportunities for themselves. So that's my favorite part of the class. Then my second favorite.
Did you have any background in IT or experience before you came to us?
No.
You were an EMT, right? Working in ambulances, taking people back and forth to the hospital, just like me.
Yep, that was my experience.
So no IT background to get started in the
Nope.
program. All right.
Nope.
All right. Let me move back up. I found your question. Now I got to move back up. So let's see here. Okay. So we've covered that. Olafemi asks, I have audit background and looking to become a cloud security architect.
Excellent.
Awesome.
So here's the thing. You got a background in auditing. Now that means you've got attention to detail and you're used to looking for stuff. Now what we can do is we can take that level of attention to detail and that methodological approach that you have to look at things and bring that to security. Because here's the thing, that's the same. Now we still need to teach you the cloud, which means the network and the data centers, all the clouds. And generally speaking, in auditing, you're not presenting to the C level. So you're still going to need to learn the C level executive presence, communication skills, etc. But yes, of course you can. I went from internal medicine to this. We had somebody that worked at Nordstrom, a waiter. So Ramanuki Van Tamba is a waiter. He came from food service. I came from medicine. We just had a mental health technician get a really great cloud architect job. So it doesn't matter your background. What matters is, do you have the right skills? Will you work hard enough? And that's what matters.
The program works if you do.
From my experience too, I work with auditors. I've worked with auditors in the past. I feel like they'd be great cloud architects for some of the fact that they know how to ask the right questions. They know how to, and they know that's really all it's about, right? Just figuring out what needs to go on, what information you need to make the organization better. So once you understand how to make the organization better, you already have the skill set to ask questions. So I think an auditor to cloud architect would be amazing.
Yeah, I do too.
So DJ says, I'm working as a network admin and working on my CCNA, has my AWS Solutions Architect Associate and CompTIA Security Plus with a secret clearance. How long will it take me to complete your course?
DJ Emacs, it'll take 4 to 8 months. And here's the thing. If your networking experience is, how do I design OSPF to minimize LSAs in certain areas? Should this be a stub area? Should this be a not so stubby area? Can I send in a summary address over here to minimize LSAs in area 0, etc.? If that's your background or network architecture background, you're good. Now, if you're used to router OSPF1, network 10.0.0.0, 0.0.0.255 area 0, and you're used to configuration, we need to turn that, which is how to do stuff, to how does it work. Now, also remember, as architects, we design, present, and sell. So if, for example, you've been designing systems, presenting them and selling systems, you won't need training there. Lots of times when we have people with a tech background, it's hardest to learn how to get out of the configuration and how to do the communication skills. So I like to say about 4 months or so for technology professionals and about 8 months for everybody else, assuming they have no background. But, it's up to you. How much effort you put in the program, how good your communication skills are, how willing you are to focus on the communication skills, and how willing you are to focus on the leadership skills. So 4 to 8 months on average.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I have to start everybody at 0 because we all come from different backgrounds. Yeah. And I need to make sure that everybody's got such strong foundations that we can put a 1,000-meter hotel on it or a 2-story building on it. Because if you don't have them right, you're not going to be set.
Yeah. So our next question is, how many other interviews did you do after meeting the hiring manager?
So 5. I met the recruiter initially. He's the one that pitched me the role. I said I agree, I'm interested. Then I got the chance to speak to the hiring manager. He did tell me more what along the lines of what I needed to be, what they needed, what they're looking for. Truly, what's not in the resume. I'm telling you that now. The resume is not what they truly need on there. I think the resume is something that HR puts together.
You're talking about the job description, right?
Yeah, the job description. Yeah. So I got the chance to talk to the recruiter, then the hiring manager. The hiring manager really informed me about what really the organization needs, what he wants on his team, not what's on that job description. And after that, I interviewed with the other members of the team, the other parts of the business, and then at the end, I did the panel interview.
So that's about normal for
Yeah.
interview processes, 4 to 5. And I'm going to make an assumption. Some of these, at least at the beginning, some of these interviews were more just casual discussions with your first talk with the hiring manager and the first talk with the recruiter.
The first time with the recruiter was just a brief review what the position was, but I feel comfortable working there. What were some of the things that I'd like to have? Then the hiring manager was more telling me about what he needed on his team, truly what he really desired, what are some of the goals and the values that he needed on his team. And then after that, it was more of the okay, let's see what this guy really has.
Yeah. All right. So our next question is, what is Delroy's main role besides the whining and dining of the customers? And I don't know if you've been in the role long enough to be able to give a.
Well, you can tell him what the manager told you, and then I'll answer it, because I've been there for 25 years, and whining and dining could be 50% of his job.
Yeah. So from what I've talked to about the hiring manager so far, just be, like I said, whining and dining, and then talking to customers and getting to know what are some of their pain points in their business. How can we improve their business with our security solutions? And then also, how can we optimize their business to improve and keep them as a long-lasting customer underneath us, and then close the deal.
So you're building the relationship and getting the necessary information to solve their problems.
Correct. And then
or optimize. It may not be a problem. Optimize their
exactly
operations. Sorry, it's been a long day for me.
I'm going to answer Sam's question pretty easily because it's at the bottom and it's so easy. What can you expect to get out of $1,000 program? Delroy, you've been with us for a year. You now can afford a single bedroom for a single family home with 4 bedrooms and 2 Mercedes, right? And still save money every month.
Yep.
So
look at that! Look at that! Look at that smile! Look at that smile!
Yeah,
that's what you can get. All my students, I've had very few, and they were the students that couldn't wait to graduate the program, ever get anything at less than $100,000 a year. I've had several students get $300,000 jobs inside of this program, and the majority of my students are in between. So that's what you'll get. Cloud hired if you do the work, show up to class, and never quit until you're successful.
Exactly.
And I'm going to add this because I've not actually done the Cloud Hired interview video of you, so I haven't got to ask you these questions yet. So, what would you say is something unexpected that you got from the program?
Yeah, the bonuses. Yeah.
Yeah. Because obviously when you enrolled, you thought you were going to get this, 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 and this.
Right.
What's something that you got that you weren't prepared, that was like, whoa, this is awesome. I didn't know I was going to get this.
Yeah. So I definitely didn't think I was going to get I thought I was going to get I was prepared more for a boring lecture in college, right? Come in for 45 minutes, take notes, get the homework, turn it in, get a passing grade, then come back next week, Wednesday, Monday, Wednesday thing, just like that. But what I got more was basically a team. I felt like I joined a team, and then I felt like I was just being around everybody, forced to almost improve and get better. So I think that's what took me for surprise. The dynamic of the setup of the organization, the team bonding that there is, feels like almost. And then like I said, we have students that meet up in Dallas and Texas and in New York and stuff like that all the time. So that was something I wasn't expecting at all. And then also the financial side of it, right? Really being able to negotiate the things that you desire, right? That skill set was definitely in there that I didn't expect. A lot of people don't like to talk about money for some reason in the industry, but Michael isn't afraid to talk to you about what you should be expecting, how to, get what you want. So those are the 2 things that I say I was not expecting out of the course: negotiating the salaries, the team dynamics, and then the business acumen as well. I was not expecting business. I thought it was going to be strictly technical, but I was naive then.
Did you expect to get job offers or recruiters reaching out to you constantly?
No. I thought I was going to have to go back and I was definitely willing to go back and put in the legwork, and I thought that's what I was going to have to do. But no, Michael showed me a completely different. I didn't even think that way of getting a job was even possible. I thought it was kind of just this myth that was to be sprayed that was going around. But the way that I actually got the job was crazy.
So
People,
you put the legwork in, but you put it in the right place.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And let's answer one question to Scotty, because here's the reason. Here's what determines what your salary will be, what your impact is to the organization. You give me a guy with 10x AWS certified that gets hired, and he's going to earn $90,000 a year at best. You give me someone with executive communication skills and leadership skills and sales skills, and you're going to earn $300,000 a year with 2 or 3 years experience. You get better at it, you can earn $500,000 a year. And that's where people don't understand with this pay transparency thing. They're like, hey, wait, this person gets paid a lot more than me. But here's the thing. An architect like Delroy 3 years from now is going to be closing billion-dollar deals. And he's going to be bringing in billions of dollars of revenues to a company. So there's that. Now, is he more valuable than an architect that brings in $100 million a year? Yeah, because he's bringing in $900 million more. And with that, it costs nothing for Delroy to say, I want to get paid $1 million. And they can afford to do it. And he'll get commissions like that if he's good at it. But if he's not good at it, what's up, Kellen?
No, I was about to say, it was kind of crazy because the hiring manager literally said the exact same thing. He's like, I got heavy hitters on my team that make more than me. You're never going to want to become a manager. I'm telling you that now. And I was like, heavy hitters? He was like, when I mean heavy hitters, I mean like $500,000 or more. And I was like, wow.
Because they produced.
But they
That's
produced.
the thing.
They bring
the
a lot of
company does not mind playing. I had a manager who was a VP. He was a master sergeant in the Marine Corps, so we got along real well. He said, do this, and I'd say, when do you need it by? So we got along real well. We understood each other. And he always used to say, Mike, the cream rises to the top. So we get base pay, which is going to be relatively high. You can expect base pay between $100,000 and $200,000 a year based upon your experience. And we can be getting commission structures from 20% all the way to 150% based upon how much you produce.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Delroy, I got a delicate question for you, but I know you're going to answer it well. Let me see if I can find it. Looks like I lost it. All right, I got to go back up here. We already answered that one. Oh, here we go. From Moises. Do you see growth in your new role, or do you expect to change careers in the near future?
I definitely see a lot of growth in the SA spot, but there also is opportunity. I feel like what I can see, me and Michael talked about it privately as well, is like the solution architect being a good solution architect can easily land you a role as a CTO, CIO, CEO. Just got to put the legwork in like how you did this time, do the right thing, develop an honest name for yourself, be fair to people, have honesty and integrity. And that role can easily transform into a CTO, CEO role. And that's the goal. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yep. All right. So Ali says, I have zero idea about information technology and want to start my career in it, or in IT. Please give me advice on how to get started. Before you guys answer, I'm just going to say, get started. But that's my answer.
Use the coupon. Take full advantage of the coupon.
Yeah.
First,
it doesn't stay around forever.
First, I'm going to say what Mike always says. IT is a big thing.
Yep.
So you have to figure out what it is that you want to do. Don't just start studying this and studying that and studying that. Read about them. Figure out what you might be interested in.
Mm-hmm.
And once you figure out one little thing that might interest you, start to go down that path. And that's because IT is such a wide. We could be talking about voice over IP, or we could be talking about cloud architecture, or we could be talking about
whatever,
security of the data set. I mean, there's so many sysadmins, DevOps, software developers. I mean, IT is such a wide. So, from a purely IT perspective, find what interests you, and then start to peel back the layers of the onion.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
And how big is this? You can't master networking in 3 lifetimes. I'm going to tell you right now. I'm a CCIE. My number is 7417. Back before Cisco made the test easy and friendly, but like they did 15 years ago or 20 years ago, it used to be a 2-day exam and everybody would fail. It was so bad they had to change the exam because nobody was going to want to use Cisco. And the point is, and what did I work with? That was my intro training. And what I do, BGP, OSPF, and PIM. Never touched wireless. I wasn't touching this, wasn't doing switching. I was doing a fraction of it. That's what it takes to be great.
And I think also I just want to say for the person that doesn't know what they really want to do, I think when you come into the course, we do have a lot of opportunity in here, and we go over quite a good amount of material, what the industry looks like. So you'll have an opportunity to kind of gauge what your flavor is. Does it want to be networking? Because you have Mike teaching that's very passionate about networking. Well, we also talk about cloud, the infrastructure, the data center. So there's an opportunity there. Then we also go over security, which helped me a lot. So there's 3 really big main facets where you can start off from and go in there. And then also you'll get the skill set to actually read job descriptions and truly figure out what the details and what's really in the weeds. You can really figure out, no, this isn't for me. Yes, this is for me based on my experiences in the class. So I think that's really, 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 really important.
And it's that laser focus. So when someone says, Mike, I want to do cloud, I say, no, what do you want to do? And they say, I want to do cloud. And I say, do you want to do cloud networking, cloud architecture, cloud DevOps, cloud engineering, cloud databases, cloud machine learning? And I literally people could spend 500 years just on cloud. So it again goes back to, and this is why people get certified and never hired. What do you want to do on the cloud? I want to be a cloud IAM architect. That's a job. I want to be a cloud network architect. That's a job. I want to be a cloud security architect. That's a job. And you can't be good at them all. So you have to pick exactly in the cloud what you want to do.
This one, I think, is appropriate for both of you guys. I was a LAN admin, and I was a New York City firefighter.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Yep. I started studying, but can't even get into anything. I felt like I would be an asset to a team. Suggestion.
Yes. In the words of Albert Einstein, if you can't explain it simply, you don't know it well enough. If you buy one of these Udemy courses or one of these certification courses, you're going to see some PowerPoint slides, and you're going to hear blah, 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 jargon, acronym, jargon, acronym, jargon, acronym, jargon, acronym. Now, before you came to me, Delroy, and you took these courses, did you understand anything? Or did you see PowerPoint slides with audio, pass certifications, and nobody hired you?
PowerPoint slides, the audio, words I didn't understand. I didn't understand how it would help the business at all. What was the purpose of the solution? We're just doing screen shares and watching somebody configure O's and ones on the screen. Very confusing.
I remember we asked you what was the Udemy like, and I think you said you felt it every time you finished the lesson, you felt like you had to go get a glossary or a dictionary to figure out what they were talking about.
Yeah.
It was I'd watch the videos on Udemy. I'd have like another computer open up on the side. I'd pause this side, Google what he was talking about, jot down my notes, and then by the time that I had to click back over and then stop again. So it was very hard to develop a very consistent and focused flow.
It's exasperating. I used the same formula when I initially started, and at the end of the course, I felt like I didn't learn anything. You didn't retain the information. You were glossing over it, but it didn't stick.
Not our course.
No.
Oh, you said course.
No.
You didn't say what course.
I said Udemy when I.
Okay, all right. I zoned out for a second. Look at
that. No.
Okay.
So now I'll ask it again. You're a cloud security architect. Did you learn Linux? Do you know coding or scripting?
No.
Because you're an architect. You're a system designer. Chris, go to the next one.
Oh, I was popping it up there so y'all could talk for a few seconds while I turn my lights back
yeah. Do you need to be good at Linux coding and scripting because security depends on the job? If you want to be an ethical hacker, you need to know this. If you want to be a defensive security engineer, no, you're not going to be coding. If you want to do vulnerability management, possibly not. If you want to be an architect, we never touch the tech. We design, present, and sell. So it's a matter of know the job you want. Because there's 5 different kinds of jobs in cloud security.
And then, Michael, you mentioned vulnerability management. That's currently what I do at my last role, right? And I felt like the training that I got from here, even though it wasn't to cloud security, really helped me stand out at my role because vulnerability management was a lot of presentation, right? It wasn't a lot of configuring at all. It was still presentation, explaining to the CEOs where our technical debt lies, where we need to improve within the next quarter, things like that. So, like I said, the stuff that I learned here is very universal across the boards, or no matter what industry or tech you dive into.
Oh, do you have a degree? A bachelor's degree, a master's degree, a PhD?
No, I have an associate's.
Okay, and Daniel didn't graduate high school and he got hired. And when Romanek Van Tambo was hired by AWS, he didn't finish school. He was midway through school or 3/4 of the way through school. He asked, AWS made him an offer and he said, would you wait for me to graduate college? I'd like to finish my degree.
Yeah. I mean, and we have people with psychology degrees. We have people with GIS degrees. We have people with no degrees.
Yeah. Most of my people don't have tech degrees. They have other degrees. I prefer they don't have a tech degree personally. I want a degree which is more related to writing and communication skills.
So what do you mean when you say good communication skills?
So in programming and in architecture, there's a term, garbage in, garbage out. So your ability to know what to design, because nobody hands us a piece of paper, is up to asking the executive. What do you need? What business goals, business pain points? If you can't talk, you can't do the job. If you can't sell, you can't do the job. If you can't ask a question, you can't do the job. You'll be forced to respond to an RFI, like a proposal or information, etc., RFPs. If you can't write, you can't do the job. So it's all about making sure that you can translate between what executives want from a business perspective to the techies, the engineers that are going to build it. How good your communication skills need to be, it's the most critical part of the job. Bad communication skills, garbage information, which means everything you do will be a disaster. That's not covered in Udemy either.
I think one thing I've learned is how to be that bridge between the engineers and then the C-level executives. What are the C-level executives looking to hear? What are the questions they need to understand? And then what are the engineers saying? How do I relay that it's important to the executive engineer from an engineering perspective? I think that's very, very important. And just learning how to be that bridge between the two is what I learned here as well.
And Chris, I want to address Dee Dee's question real quick. And it says, I'm a back-end developer. Which applications should I do? What do you want to do? I don't care what you did. Delroy has no tech background. I used to practice internal medicine. We have a behavioral health tech that did it. What should you do? What do you desire to do? What you ate yesterday for dinner, does it have any impact on the workout you do today? No.
Right.
And if you were a dentist in your life and you want to be a cloud architect, be a cloud architect. You want to be a cloud engineer, do what you like, do what you love. All my people change careers. Half of them do.
I mean, I did hotel development for over a decade, and I'm not developing hotels right now.
Elonzo, what was your background? And I know you managed large projects, but before you did that, and I came after my training, what were you doing before me?
I was doing marketing. I was doing creative direction, and I was doing marketing applications. So it's a far cry from where I am swinging on the other side of the brain. So it's just, go ahead.
I was going to say, and Delroy, he was an EMT.
Yeah.
So just, and I think the question comes in more from people that are already in the IT sphere. They feel like they've pigeonholed themselves and they've got the blinders on.
Yeah.
Or they're like, okay, I'm a back-end developer. How do I can I do something else? Yes, you can. Just get out of the back-end developer.
Yep.
Do something else. You have the capability. You have the capability to become a back-end developer.
Mm-hmm.
You have the capability to become something else if you want to become something else.
Yeah.
So
focus on what you love.
Yep. So Angela popped in out of nowhere.
Oh, Angela, I'm so happy to see you. Angela is one of my first students. She's special. She's smart. She's incredibly classy. And I am so thankful to see you. Yes, we do. We actually have the Tech Career Accelerator program. And we designed that for our graduates. How do you go from $200,000 architect to $400,000 architect? How do you get a VP position? How do you do this? Or if you've been a cloud engineer and you want to become an architect, for example, well, actually, they don't know they still need architecture training. It's designed to take people and give them the ability to get promoted. Maybe you're a network engineer and you want to become an engineering manager, et cetera, et cetera.
So I am going to cherry pick and not ask this question because it asks about your salary. I'm not going to do that. So
No, he
I
can't do
wanted
that. He can't
I wanted
disclose
to
the
say that
salary.
out loud that I'm not going to ask him to discuss his salary.
No, that's
I'll say our average salaries range between $120,000 and $300,000 for the majority of our students per year. They're a little lower in England right now, but England's doing some things which I expect salaries to be a little lower there right now.
Well, heck, and now the euro's even with the dollar.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And
But
they're
anyway,
doing 4-day weeks or something like that.
yeah. So I'll put it up there. We're not going to answer it. But they do follow up with, how old are you, Delroy?
I turned 25 in March. So I was 24 when I started, and I started wrapping up right after my 25th birthday.
All right. And we just went over the average salaries. And Young asked, do I start right away?
Yeah.
Yes,
The
you do.
second you sign up, a few things happen. Our pre-recorded content gets unlocked. You will then start working on projects, turning in assignments, and my team will give you feedback on it. Then you'll be rolled into the next class. Now, our class schedule is a little odd this week because of all the boot camps. All my students are attending them anyway. And then you'll attend classes. When you attend classes, which are 2-hour classes 3 times a week, and we record them in case you miss one, et cetera, so we're good to go. And then you'll do labs. Now, our labs are not silly little AWS labs that nobody cares about. Sure, we have 25 of them to say you can do it. And sure, we've got 25 Azure labs, but nobody cares. I'm going to tell you right now, you can have 1,000 on your resume, nobody cares. But what they do care is your network and data center knowledge. So with us in our program, you'll work with server virtualization on our data center, and you'll set up containers from scratch. You will build up file servers the hard way from scratch. You'll build the LAMP stack, Linux, Apache, MySQL, PHP from scratch. You'll be building firewalls and working with them. You'll be building VPN concentrators and working with them. You will be working with Active Directory, and all of my students build the cloud from scratch. And here's the reason why. If someone says, Delroy, what do you know about cloud? And he says, I know so much, and I know Azure, Google, AWS. I've even designed and built my own cloud. Whoa, he's an architect. He's an expert. Versus somebody that says, I got a DevOps certification, and they say, run along, little man or woman, because we don't do DevOps in architecture. Mm-hmm. There's the door. Sorry, you have no experience, and that's what they'll say.
All right. So I'm not sure. We've got a few more questions left. I'm not sure what kind of time constraints we have.
I'm trying to see. I know I'm supposed to leave at 8:30. I figure I can go an extra 5 minutes before anybody yells at me. So let me do that. My brother's here. My wife's here. So let's go to 8:35.
8:35. All right. So I'm not going to put it up here. The mortgage chick, do you have to know Linux as a cloud architect? No.
Now you should know, and we teach it how Linux architecture works. What does the kernel do? What does the shared memory space? But Delroy, have you ever worked on Linux in your life?
No.
Other than what we.
Other than our labs that we teach.
Yeah, like what do you mean, like outside of work? No, but only in the labs, yes.
Yeah, in the labs.
So you're not Red Hat certified. You're not doing Linux admin. You're not doing Python coding.
Writing scripts.
No scripts, no bash shell scripting. Now, for my cloud engineers, critical skills. So it's about the job.
All right. So our next question.
And we have a geologist that have gotten through and been hired as well.
Yep.
That is geospatial imaging.
Yeah, I have a master in geology. Then worked in oil and gas as a geologist. Then the last 5 years in IT as business analyst in oil and gas project. How difficult will be for me, solution architect?
As long as you do the work, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
The business analyst part is actually going to be a huge help for you. We do much more business analyst stuff than we actually do tech stuff.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about geology, thinking about how you categorize things as well and how it can be applicable to the cloud space, it can still be a benefit to you as well. So we've got tons of people from across the spectrum on prior careers, and still they were able to, just like a VPN concentrator everybody funnels in, and we're able to create really successful people through the program.
JG, can older person start? Of course. I have a student. His name is Derek. I won't mention his last name. He went through my program, and he had to stop the program due to some family things, and he's back, and I'm so excited to have him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he had to take 6 months off, and I reached out to him. Derek, where are you? I miss you. And he came back. Here's the thing. Derek told me in a class that he was dreaming about BGP design.
Mm-hmm.
It brought me to tears. You asked Derek architecture, and he is so smart. He is so capable. I was trying to chase him to go interview because he was ready for it. And here's the thing. He was afraid, he wanted to be better. But I would have hired him right then there. I want someone with experience, if possible, or I want someone that's competent. I don't care. Now, am I looking for tech experience in the person? No. I'm concerned about their business experience, their wisdom, their leadership. Now, if I've got a 25-year-old like you, Delroy, it's amazing, great. But if I've got a 60-year-old, we're going to play a different game. At your age, we play, I'm Delroy. I'm strong, energetic, motivated, enthusiastic, and I learn fast. It's 61, like someone like Angela, and I know Angela, who's super smart and super wise and a great leader. I've got life experience. I've managed these large projects. I've managed this. I've managed this. So that's her key. The key is play to your strength, and we teach that in our course.
Oh, sorry, there we go. All right. What aspect of networking to focus on as a cloud architect? Also, what part of security to focus on? Is it okay to do some security fundamentals?
Matthew, you just mentioned two completely different careers.
Yep.
A networking career and a security career. If you try to do both, you will fail miserably. You can spend the next 100 years and not master networking. You can spend the next 100 years and not be the expert on security. So which would you need? Now, what part of security should you focus on is dependent upon the job. If you want to do ethical hacking, there's one thing to focus on. If you want to do defensive security, there's another thing. If you want to focus on identity and access management. So Matthew, I asked this question. What would you like to do? You tell me that and we can answer your question.
All right. So let me see here.
And actually, yeah, let's get a cloud security architect or cloud architect training in the hashtag with that in the chat box. Cloud architect training, so we can celebrate Delroy and maybe security, cloud security, or whatever Crips popped in there as well.
Well, let's get a hashtag Delroy Batt too.
Yes, hashtag Delroy Batt.
Let's just get hashtags all over the place.
Throw them on the wall.
All right. So let's see. I think that was.
Thank you, everybody.
Oh, here we go. This is a good one. Pradeep asked, how did you keep on track learning during times when you felt lost, or how to have the self-discipline and get rid of imposter syndrome? I'm having difficulty focusing.
It's a habit that you have to just build up as you go along, right? I just felt like just getting back into the habit of studying, showing up, and doing your necessary due diligence. But then also, it was fun. The lectures were fun. The lectures weren't not dainty. They weren't drawn out. They weren't boring. So it was pretty easy to come back. I truly enjoyed just talking to Michael and how he dealt with the entire class. So when you're having fun, it's not like I have to force myself to be motivated because you're just enjoying the experience.
So you're saying take part in the program.
Yes.
Yeah, just take part. Yeah, and that's another
ingrain yourself in the program and the community.
That's another thing too. I think you guys, when you guys get in here, I think you guys should really, 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 really take full advantage in talking in the program. Once you talk in the program and people get to know your name, your face, Mike, you start to stand out as a student, then you get a chance to really be engaged, and it's very easy to want to be a part of the program because you're engaged and they're engaging you as well.
Yeah. And there was a question earlier about what your interview process. Did you have any in-person interviews, or were they all remote?
All my interviews were remote. Every single interview was remote. All the roles I applied for were remote as well.
Yep. So that was going to be my next one. So you're in a remote role. All right.
Well, this one is kind of like, because I got to meet with client. They'll ask me to come out to dinner with a client.
So that's when it might become, I guess, a hybrid technically. But
it's not a on-prem. Yeah, like your
Right.
hybrid wouldn't be an office. A hybrid would be.
Yeah, it's just going to dinner. That's
Yeah.
going to work. Is you're going to eat a very wonderful meal with clients and talk business over some very expensive liquor and everything else and ambiance. Yeah, that's a pretty awful office experience to deal with, Delroy, don't you think?
Harsh conditions, man.
It's really harsh. In 1 year as an architect, I spent $100,000 on lunches and almost $100,000 on dinners on the corporate credit card. So yeah, it's really tough. Now, there's one quick question from Gears ZNet that is pretty interesting. I'm going to ask.
Yeah.
Can a cloud security architect work as a generic cloud architect? Can an airplane pilot work as a doctor? It's a different skill set.
Mm-hmm.
So sure, you could take a security architect. They could take our cloud architect program. And about 8 months later, we can train them to be a cloud architect. Sure. But being a doctor doesn't make you a physical therapist. Being a doctor doesn't make you an airplane pilot. They're different jobs.
Think of IT as a sport. Pick your sport. You can't do hockey and shuffleboard. You got to pick one or the other. It's like all of them require different skill sets, workout regimens, dietary concerns, and everything else. So find what you love and focus on that and do nothing but that. And you're going to be that capable SME instead of that jack of all trades.
Then you got to find your position as
And
well.
wow. So I just got the cutest notification that it's time for me to go. My cat literally opened the door with its head and walked in. Thank you, Cindy. I got the message. My wife told the cat, go tell Mike. So for those of you who know my cat, Cindy, she's a magical, sweet, wonderful, wonderful. So can we end this on the following? # Cloud Architect Training. Tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. 9 a.m. It'll be online on YouTube. And you can ask me any cloud career questions that you want, and I want to help you. So join us tomorrow at free. On Thursday, and it's in the chat box, join our How to Get Your First Cloud Architect Job webinar, and we will tell you how to leverage your life experience so you can transition careers. We will tell you what the things that hiring managers dream about. We'll tell you the things that need to be on your resume, what certifications you should do, and which ones will hurt your career chances. And then from there, we'll talk about how do you skip HR, a couple of pointers on your resume, and how to get hired. And we'll tell you what to do if you're with us or on your own. I don't care. I just want to know that everybody that wants a cloud job gets a cloud job. It's a matter of knowing which one and being prepared for the right one. So it's been an honor and a privilege. Angela, I'm so happy to see you here today. So thrilled. Derek, I saw you earlier. Welcome back. We're excited to see you. I saw one of my students on this call that just got a cloud security architect job. And she told me they were so concerned about her attitude and communication skills. That's why they hired her. Thank you. She said
Concerned?
What's that?
You said they were concerned.
No, they were concerned, meaning they wanted that.
Oh,
they were so excited about her.
Oh, they were concerned that the person they hired would have that. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, got
they were
it.
so concerned that whomever they hired had good communication skills and attitude, and they hired her, she said, because of that. Because she had such a good attitude.
All right.
I love this. I love it.
Well, congratulations again, Delroy.
Congratulations, Delroy.
Yes.
I'm sorry you did not beat the metrics for Daniel, but we had a limitation. I'm sure you will have beat his metrics on the per minute measurement.
Oh, yeah.
We got to go a good hour longer with Daniel, but Cindy needs her daddy, so we're gonna.
Cindy needs her daddy. My brother's in. He flew in from Philadelphia via Greece, etc. Originally, so got to spend some time with my family. Everyone, it's been an honor. Take advantage of the 30% off across our programs, and get cloud hired, get cloud promoted, live the life you dream about. Delroy, I'm so proud of you. Delroy, I know from the time you were in Florida listening to reggae with me that I'm just beyond excited. Let's give everybody a round of applause for Delroy.
Thank you.
Well done, Delroy.
Well done, Delroy. 25 years old, in front of so far 918 people. At 24 years, he just turned 25 years old. How does that get the 30% off? There's a coupon code that my team is providing. It is potential. So can you guys just put the link to the course as well as our coupon code?
Sure. As long as we can end it so I don't get in trouble with Cindy. And
we don't want Cindy getting upset.
All
So
there we go.
realistically speaking, Delroy's been in the program for about a year, maybe a year and a month. And here's the reason why. He got hired. We went on 20 interviews before he joined us. Nobody was interested. Within 3 weeks of the program, he got himself a good job, which actually paid architect pay because he was able to negotiate a thing and we helped him. Then, during all this time, we're there. Now, if I told you, are we only AWS, Delroy, or are we every cloud? And I tell you, you can never get a job by only learning AWS.
Yeah, we're an agnostic-based solution, right? So we learn the fundamentals of everything, and then we just figure out what brand names, whatever marketing scheme the teams can put on top
So
of.
you know how to work on any cloud,
Yes.
like how to drive a car versus, you can get on every car.
Toyota.
Exactly.
All right, if we're going to keep going, then this is the only thing we're going to address.
Bad Weather Freak, he had no background in tech. He was an EMT. I don't know what you're talking about.
Thank you. All right. So.
So have a great night, everybody. And can't wait to see you. See you tomorrow morning and see you tomorrow for the free AWS Bootcamp.
All right.
Thank you, everyone, for joining. We love you.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Proud of you.
Bye.
All right.
I'm cutting